That's alright, mama. That's alright with you. That's alright, mama. And just any way you do. That's alright. That's alright. That's alright now, mama. Any way you do. Come on, man. Can you feel the pain? Into him now. About this new world. Ain't no train. Papa's got a brand new eye. Purple haze in my brain. Lately things just don't seem the same. Acting funny and I don't know why. Excuse me while I kiss the sky.
You are listening to Still Point, the Don't Unfriend Me band out of Georgia. You can find them on Spotify and everywhere you consume music outside of Sam Goody, because that place is gone. Leeroy's in the house. Leeroy, you're going to have to scream for people to hear you.
What's going on, folks?
All right, sorry, I've got him on the same as the music, and I got to remember to change that. Dan Nunn is in the house from the Nunn Report. So excited to have him on here. Want to say hello to all of our Rumble users. Looks like we've got a whole bunch of people on. So welcome to everybody from the Nunn Report. My name is Matt from the DUM Show. We've got an introduction to talk about. We've got some fun things in the news. We're going to talk to Dan, find out all about him. And we're going to talk about everything going on in the world, all that fun stuff. If you have not had a chance, please follow at The DUM Show. And you can go to thedumshow.com. You can find out all about us. Pick up your shirts, your hats, your coffee, all that type of fun stuff. We're on 5 nights a week at 7 p.m. And we will see you soon. Let's get this thing kicked off with no further ado. We'll be right back with Dan with a quick intro, and then we'll bring the man himself in. Let's rock and roll.
Do you want the truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want. Damn, show what you need. I won't tell no lies. Back up all the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's dog.
That I hear most often, that I always try to help people connect the dots, is what is past is prologue. And although Shakespeare, not my favorite, it's an interesting thing when you look at 1980 and the crack epidemic. and what the United States government was involved in with the Contras.
No kidding.
So I don't understand why people are so shocked and they call Roseanne a conspiracy theorist. Because there's evidence in the past of the government getting involved in this, and there's plenty of books on this, and you can read this.
Here's what I think. I love your show, by the way, Matt Spear, and
Thank you, ma'am.
Just discovered you about a week ago,
ma'am.
Oh my God, this guy's a genius. The facts he can spew.
God, I love you.
You can spew fact, and that's the sign of a genius.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I appreciate you asking me that.
So you just made my life.
I do remember back when they were bringing the crack cocaine into the black neighborhoods, and that proved that the CIA was doing it.
Yes,
they were
adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leeroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at the DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
What's up, Leeroy? Good to see you. Say hi to everybody since they couldn't hear you before.
What is going on, folks? It's great to be here. How you doing, Matt?
I'm good, Bubba. Good. Life is good, man. Life is good. It's amazing when you get you take a load off and you just get things off your chest and you kind of start anew. It's like a New Year's resolution. You'll watch that show last night and you'll figure it out. Dan Nunn is in the house. I want to walk through this real quick. There's a whole bunch of people in Rumble that are new, so welcome to y'all. We're also kicking it off on Twitter, and pretty good boost. Let's get it shared out if we could. Facebook is doing their usual thing, so I would love if we could help get this on Twitter. And let's get this, let's light this popsicle stand. I'm going to give an intro to Dan Nunn. As always, every time we bring a guest in, we've got to do it. I got to write something down because that's important to me. And I want those people to feel welcome. So we're going to do this. I then anticipate a really good conversation. Dan Nunn's story doesn't begin with bright lights or microphones. It begins on the deck of a trawler in the freezing waters of the Bering Sea. At 15, he was a greenhorn gutting fish in Dutch Harbor, Alaska. By 18, he earned his way up to first mate on a 180-foot factory trawler. Over the years, he rose to captain. I'm going to try to do my best Mike Rowe because this sounds like Dutch Harbor, Alaska stuff from Deadliest Catch. Over the years, he rose to captain, working for Arctic Alaska Seafoods under Francis Miller, before the company was bought by Tyson. His first vessel, the Aleutian Enterprise, I think I got that right, you'll correct me later sank in one of Alaska's deadliest maritime disasters, claiming the lives of many friends he had worked beside. Those hard years on the water taught him loyalty, discipline, and the kind of work ethic you can't learn from a book. When he left the sea, Dan brought those lessons with him. The same grit that got him through Arctic storms became the backbone of everything he did on land. Tired of watching the country trade truth for politics, he built the Nunn Report, a show that cuts through the noise with honesty, principle, and common sense. Today, he's the creator and host of one of the fastest growing conservative news and analysis programs in the country, reaching more than 8.1 million viewers each month and over 161,000 followers across all platforms. Dan isn't a polished pundit or career journalist. He's something rarer, a man who's lived the kind of hard experience in life that only seldom is talked about. His reporting reflects the values that shaped his life: limited government, free markets, faith, and personal accountability. He's also a respected MC and speaker who has shared the stage with leaders like Matt Gaetz, Raheem Kassam, and Joe Kent. Through it all, Dan remains grounded in family, faith, and the belief that truth still matters. The Nunn Report isn't just a broadcast. It's the voice of a man who's seen life from the deck of a ship, the floor of a factory, and the heart of a nation worth fighting for. Someday, he says, he'll write a book about it all. Until then, he'll keep telling the truth, one broadcast at a time. And it begins now, and we're very excited to bring you Dan Nunn from the Nunn Report. Dan, welcome to the show, brother.
Well, hey, welcome. Thanks.
Yeah, it's
good to be here, man. It's been a long road. I mean, we tried to get together like several times, and a lot of that's on me. Send me an email, and I just kept putting it off and not doing it, and finally I did, and Olivia took care of us, and here we are.
Yeah, it's I remember seeing you. We were talking about that earlier, and I saw your show, and I was like, well, who's this guy? First of all, I always get sucked into people's shows based upon their set And if the sound isn't good and the video isn't great, I'm done. I just check out because it's important to me. So I was like, this guy's got his stuff together. He's got a great set. I'm gonna watch him and learn. And I was like, well, I'm gonna send him an invite and get ballsy and see if he'll come on my show. And then 5 years later, here we are, and I'm excited for it. So Dan, there's a lot there in the opening, but I would love for you to kind of break and cut people's teeth on who you are and what we missed in that intro, and then we can start talking a little bit about what we do here.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's you basically hit all the bullet points. I mean, I cut my teeth up in the Bering Sea in Alaska, not crabber style, deadliest catch, but the next closest thing, which is factory trawlers. And when I was 15 years old and started, I learned my work ethic. We're working 20, 30, 40-hour shots and a few hours of sleep and frigid weather and freezing spray coming over the side of the boat and stinking like fish, showering maybe once a month, and all that good stuff that actually probably a lot of people in the military are used to as well. They're just not used to the freezing spray, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of my life. Whether it was working selling fishing nets after I got out of that, I stopped fishing so I could raise my family. A set of circumstances happened where it was just all right. It just seemed the time to step out. So I went from making the big money to like a fraction of that. It was very hard, but we powered through. And because I wanted to coach baseball, I wanted to be there for my kids. I wanted to experience that. I didn't want to be the absent father that I'd seen a lot of my fishermen friends be with their kids. But I wanted to still provide the same lifestyle, but that takes time. When you're starting all over again, you've got to rebuild, you've got to redo things. And I've rebuilt a few times in my life. I've owned a national construction company that I founded 23 years ago and put a lot of effort into that with my sons and also one of my daughters and a couple of my stepdaughters. It's kind of a family business and has been for years. So that's what pays the bills. And then now I'm in a different phase of my life where, I just want to, it started out kind of with Facebook rants. It's like I was doing 4 or 5 10-minute rants on Facebook. And then people started sending me messages, dude, you might want to think about getting a little more, real about this and a little more official about this. And so here I am, man, 679 episodes later today. And it's been a learning experience for sure. And I assure you, my studio and my sound did not start out the way that you saw it.
Oh yeah, no, neither did mine. Yeah. So I started off on a 720p Logitech webcam, but this was right in COVID and there were no webcams. You couldn't get an DSLR. You couldn't get a 3/4 or 4/3 camera. You couldn't get any camera. So I dug up some old dilapidated webcam, and then I had an old Shure, I don't know, just a standard microphone, dynamic or cardioid pattern,
like a SM58 or something like that.
Yeah, it was that's exactly what it was. It was SM58 for sure, with the pop filter inside the mic and screw top, and it was it was horrendous. It was horrible, and I didn't even understand what I was doing. And very similar to you, the Don't Unfriend Me show was born out of good friends of ours who were lifelong mentors and godparents to our kids. And they helped us through jobs and through raising children. And they were just amazing people. And my wife wanted to vote for Trump. So she put up a banner and said, I'm voting for Trump. And then they made some horrible comment about Barron, and they hoped Melania and Donald Trump actually injected bleach so he could grow up and be adopted by somebody. And my wife was like, I just expected so much more from you. This is really disappointing. And then boom, we were gone. So I went on this 30-minute COVID rant and just threw them in it. And it was pretty epic. The mic was horrible. The sound was horrible, but it got like 30,000 views, and then Don't Unfriend Me was born. So it's same exact thing. It started during those times. So I know Leeroy's going to have questions. I'm going to have a ton of questions, but when you got into this, what was your biggest learn? And you're self-made, I'm self-made. We started this. We had to learn all this industry. We had to become a 10-man crew and do it by ourselves. But what was the biggest learn that you picked up that you're like, if you were telling a new podcaster, what would it be?
Wow. That is a lot to unpack. The biggest thing is probably to not be afraid of complex production software, because what it will give you in the end is so worth the learning curve.
Yeah.
And audio is good, video is good, a good background is good. If you don't have a studio, have a green screen. I started out with a green screen, and and it was great, and it worked really well to a point. But I have kind of big hair, and it kind of gets it's kind of loose and frizzy sometimes, and so I would get this glow about my hair, and I'm like going, okay, this is not working. It's not pro or anything. I don't like it at all. So studio, turn the desk around, put my guitars behind me, and call it good. So that's what I ended up doing. But the biggest leap for me was, like you, I started out with some cheap software. I was using, I think, all of my original shows were done on something called Prism Live. And I did it not with any cameras. I did it all, where is it? I did it all right here with this exact tablet. And I would set it up, and I would set up my scenes in Prism, and I would scroll through my scenes and do different things. And that was it. And then I like, someone said, you need to use OBS. And I'm like, OBS, what's that?
Right.
So I downloaded it, and I'm like, oh, no,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. That scared the
Complex.
fuck out of me. I was like, but eventually I did learn it. So I guess that would be my, to circle back to the beginning, is I guess that would be my big thing, is don't be afraid of complex production, or what you perceive as complex production software, because once you get it down, it's really not that hard at all. It's still going to have its technical glitches. All technical stuff does, especially on Mac computers. That was a jab at you.
No, that's okay. That's I had a comment, but I don't know if we're close enough friends yet, so I'll stop.
I'm a Windows guy, so we're gonna have that conversation on a later episode. But that would be my big thing. Is just go for it, man, and learn the hours that you spend learning that stuff, and learning the routine, and those late nights, and developing the scenes, and developing the consistency and the format and everything. Well worth it.
Leeroy, how about you? You've been doing this now for a few years since we've been doing this. What about you? What's your big takeaway in this process?
During this process, I would say my biggest takeaway is going to be just be prepared to come to the plate with the arguments. And I don't mean in a aggressive way. I mean, just like, be prepared to break down the problem. I like to have those conversations. Beyond that, I think the camera thing absolutely would help. Having a good mic, sure. But personality, and having the cojones to really have a really rough and honest and open conversation. And from the podcast that I listened to earlier, Dan, I would absolutely say that you absolutely fit that bill. Hey, I got a question too, because I noticed during the intro that you said at one point that you had interviewed Joe Kent. Is that?
Yeah, he's been on the show a couple of times.
At some point after we're done today, if there's any way, shape, or form you could forward me his email or his
this was all before he was in the Trump administration. So see,
you're not going to get him, dude.
Yeah, so I'm from Washington. From Washington. He's from Washington. He was running for the 3rd district here in Washington State. I supported him for 2 campaigns. He emceed some of his fundraising events, one of which Matt Gaetz came out to here in Washington. We also did a fundraiser back in D.C. With Matt Gaetz and Joe Kent. And that was when he was running for Congress. And now that he's he's kind of there. He's not as easy to get a hold of.
I asked that, and Matt, if you'll forgive me, just give me 30 seconds here.
No, we don't have a show or anything. Go ahead.
Because every season I'm in the Navy. And by the way, I should preface this conversation by saying all of my opinions are mine and mine alone, and are not representative of the Navy or the government. That being said, I'm a chief petty officer in the Navy, and his wife is an inspiration. And every year when we go through what we call chief season, she is one of the examples that is given to incoming chiefs to say, this is why you want to be like this person. And that's why it doesn't
Yeah.
have anything to do with politics. It's more
Have you read his book, Send Me?
I ordered it and I haven't gotten it yet.
It is an incredible story that covers everything about, well, just how they from him going in to Spec Ops, and then how he met his wife, and they started raising their family. It goes through the whole story. It's incredibly moving book. I highly recommend it. Send Me, the story of a mother at war, I believe is what it is.
Yeah. Black Rifle Coffee did an amazing, probably about a 5-minute video on him and his wife. Yeah, just really great stuff. Anyway, moving on.
Dan, people want to know what channel they can find you. Obviously, Rumble is the place to be. What time is your show and what days of the week?
Yeah, the show is on weekdays at 4 Eastern, exclusively on Rumble, which is the free speech alternative to ScrewTube. Sorry, I know you're on YouTube, but I'm not, because I know I would get 3 strikes in like 5 minutes with some of my stuff. So, but yeah, I'm on Rumble, and that's pretty much it. I'm on all the socials at the Nunn Report, except for X, where I'm at the Nunn Report US, because I had a few accounts nuked there. And so I had to, on X, create a new persona, which is at the Nunn Report US. But everywhere else, at the Nunn Report. And Facebook is probably my biggest platform right now. Well, definitely it is. And we'll probably have that conversation in a little bit. But
yeah, let's do it now.
It's yeah, let's do it right now.
So Facebook is an interesting thing. So YouTube
love hate. People love it and hate it. I love it and hate it.
Right. Yeah. Like YouTube, they took me out immediately. And during COVID, they hit me, and they three hit me on a Trump rally, and they hit me for what Trump said, which is the most ridiculous thing ever. Right. I mean, that's the dumbest thing. You're playing content.
It's just rebroadcasting something. It's not even your content.
Just hit me. 3 strikes all in the same episode. And I'm just like, okay, so I'm gone. So I reapplied. I backdoored. I got my name back, and I tried it, and it's been really good for the last 6 months. And it's not like we skirt topics here. We just know what their algorithm will hit us on. So we code it up a little bit. Like we'll put an amperstamp or do that, and people know, what we're talking about. But Facebook is an interesting enigma, because we went viral on Facebook during COVID, and we saw the biggest growth that I've ever seen, and the financials were amazing. And then they just shut us down. And we were just talking about this. So like you and I had our best couple months that I've seen in probably 3 years, just incredible growth and good money coming in. Then what happened? You want to walk us through what happened with your channel and what they've been doing to you?
Yeah. It's frustrating, because I know the Facebook animal, because I had been there with, I also, one of my other side gigs is a production company that promotes and books tribute bands. And so I knew how the algorithms worked. I knew how the advertising worked. And I kind of came into it. That's why my wife, Terry, she was on X. She's like, or Twitter at the time. She's like, Dan, Twitter is the place. Twitter is the place. I'm like, I'm comfortable on Facebook. But without making it a long story, that's where I started this platform, because I knew the platform, and then it grew quickly, and then it just stopped. Yeah. And it just stopped. It sat there at like 34,000, 33,000, 30 for like a year or so, because they demonetized me. They took away my recommendation. I wasn't getting any distribution whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, and I can mark the date. I can look back at the analytics. February 1st of this year. So after Trump was elected, after Zuck went to the White House, February 1st of this year, all of a sudden, bam, I'm remonetized. I got I was already recommendable again. You know, I got the green, you're recommended,
Right.
and it started growing, and it started growing by like 400 followers a day. Then it started growing by like 1,000 followers a day, and some crazy stuff. And then it actually started, the monetization started to become measurable. And I'm like going, wow, this is kind of cool. And then after Charlie Kirk was killed, it went to the stratosphere.
Yeah.
I mean, it just freaking. I was getting 3 or 4,000 new followers a day. My maximum peak was 81 million interactions a month. 81 million.
Yeah, we hit 189 million, Leeroy. I don't know what you're wowing about. We did pretty well too. Seriously.
And you guys have so and that's about right. That tracks. That tracks perfectly, dude. Because your Facebook following is about 3 times mine right now. You're like 350 or 60. I'm at like 135 or something like that.
Yeah.
So
you have more consistent. But you have more consistency. So
that tracks. And then all of a sudden, like, what was it? 2 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, it was like a faucet got shut off, man. It was like all of a sudden, bam! I've gone from 81 million per month down to like 24.
Yeah, same with us.
And the monetization has been cut by 60%. And I haven't changed anything. This is all on Facebook's end.
Mm-hmm.
I've contacted them because I subscribe, so I can actually reach them directly. But that's so worthless, man. You reach somebody overseas, they can't do anything. It's completely worthless. And so anyway, I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook. I'm not giving up on it. I think after the election, they'll probably turn the knob back up. What's irritating to me is the lack of transparency by any of the platforms. I don't care who it is, X, YouTube, Facebook. It's like, look, I'm doing this full time. I'm not playing games here. Can you at least let me know what I need to be doing, and I will happily do it. But when you don't tell me what it is, or when you give me a strike, or when you give me, this video was taken down, okay, tell me why.
Right.
That's all we want
and
to
how
know.
To fix it.
It doesn't seem like it's too much to ask, right?
Yeah. So you're absolutely. This happens every year though. First of October, they cut it off. It didn't matter, and then they run that until about November 8th or 9th, and then everything starts picking up for Christmas. And you know what? But what bothers me is that I have to register as a political organization. And they forced us to do that and said, if you want to stay on, you got to be a political organization. Your impact in politics and the videos you're doing and whatever, especially if you want to run ads. So why should
I can't run ads on mine.
That's because run ads. Well, that's because we registered as a political organization. So they can't shut us down and strike us on what they strike other people on because of that. But the drawback is why are you hitting us during political season when we are registered as a U.S. company? We should be able to say whatever the hell we want. You do that to supposedly stop Russia. Well, we're a U.S. based company. We're an LLC. We're all legit. Why are you throttling? So I'm with you, man.
And more than anything else, we're constitutionalists, which basically should be true representatives of the government.
Right.
Oh, well, we don't throttle. Ask them; they'll tell you we don't throttle anybody.
Oh, that's a lie. It's a complete
I know
lie.
It's a lie. Of course,
my numbers look just like yours. I was actually just going to show everything that you just described with every date. You can see the spike right here.
It's completely relative, right?
And and now it's down, and 189 million down to 15 million.
And then it completely flatlined there, right?
Just flatlined. Yep. And money, you're absolutely right, 60%. So listen, it comes down to this. We're a donation show, so you can go to thedumshow.com/donate. So listen, let's get into some stuff. Let's get into some politics. Let's get into some hairier stuff. This is great, and we're all singing Kumbaya. We've got all the viewers on now, and everyone's cooking. So, Dan, tell everyone your political disposition and kind of where you are in the scheme of things. Is what, Leeroy?
I wanted to add a question to that. If you could roll it into a story, I wanted to know, like, you've done 650 plus episodes. What was your favorite episode, and how did you get to this point in your political kind of life? Was there a watershed moment? How did you get to this point?
I'm a original Ditto head from back in the day. I started my political journey as a Reagan Republican back. My parents were. I was an '80s child. I was a child of the '80s. Hair bands, big rock, butt rock, whatever you want to call it. And then we went through Clinton, of course. But I remember I was at the probably my big where I really saw where the deep state was when the Clintons took office and Hillary went out there and started pushing for this universal health care. And she came to Seattle, and she came to a place in Seattle called Westlake Center, which is the main area downtown where there's a lot of gatherings, and there's a lot of shopping and stuff around there too. Nowadays there's a lot of drug use and homeless people, but back then it was actually kind of a cool place where people went. And she came to give a speech, and Kirby Wilbur, who was running the KVI radio station, had a show on that here locally. We went down there for a protest, when Hillary Clinton was speaking down there. And it was so perfect. And it was I've got videos of me actually holding up a sign that says freedom, not socialism. And I'm out right in the very front, man. I was a radical, right? And there's a waterfall there. And this was when Whitewater was going on. And so while she's speaking, we're sitting there chanting, and they tried to drown us out. They turned on the waterfall thinking the water would stop us. And what did we do? We do what conservatives do. We started chanting, Whitewater, Whitewater, Whitewater. And so they just couldn't stop us. And she eventually just stopped talking and left. So now fast forward about 35 years or so, maybe even 40 years. And it just, again, it was the COVID calamity. I spent 20 years building a national construction company to pay the bills, and my wife and I did. And she's the bookkeeper. I should say, I need to always include her when I say that. I didn't build it. We built it. She was always there, and she was keeping me in line. She made sure things were taken care of, because otherwise the IRS would be chasing me down by now, I'm sure. So I spent 20 years doing that. And now the kids are gone and COVID hit. And I'm like, man, I feel like I need to do something and be part of something and say something that's not just about me. And so I started plugging back in. Keep in mind, I took a long hiatus, but I started plugging back in. I did vote for Trump in 2016, but I wasn't necessarily all that plugged in politically. But I reengaged during COVID, because if you didn't, I mean, why wouldn't you? You're dead, right?
Right.
And that's when I started saying, you know what? I need to do something that can benefit, or at least get a message out, or get the word out to people. Even if it's only a few people, at least it'll be somebody. It'll be something other than just, worrying about my own life, my own self, my own bills, my own this and that, because there's so much more out there as far as a country, as far as, our freedoms go and our liberty. And man, if their plan would have gone as scripted, I mean, God is easy to see in the rearview mirror. I say this all the time on my show. You look back, if the plan had gone and Hillary had gotten elected, and then maybe Kamala would have gotten elected, or Biden would have served 2 terms, I mean, we would be done as a nation. We would be done. We would have no borders. We would have no freedoms. We would have nothing. We would be just another despot country with the haves and the have-nots. But God sent us Trump. And I firmly believe that. And I also believe that when he was not reelected in his second term in 2020, that was also a God shot, because we needed 4 years of Biden. We needed to see the deep state in action. We need to see President Otto Penn doing his thing,
right,
to bring us back full circle to where we're at, which gave Trump the massive victory he had in 2024. He's governing now, knowing what he did not know in his first term. He surrounded himself this time with rock stars instead of deep state puppets and people that are stabbing him in the back. And I don't know. I don't even know if I'm on topic anymore. I'm just
doesn't matter.
I'm just kind of free forming here. So
it's fine. We've got this show we don't do scripts. We don't do that shit. And too many people do that. We like conversation, and Leeroy and I step on each other's dicks once in a while, and that's just the way it is. And we make mistakes and we go off on other topics, and who cares? It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Oh, one time we talked about planes for 2 hours, and people were just like, "Oh my God, would you freaking Intel guys shut up?"
I remember that.
So, I think if you would have said what you just said on the show a year ago, I would have been like, okay, whatever. And that's a little too much. But you know what? It's amazing when you talk about looking in the rearview mirror and hindsight being 2020 and all of that, whatever cliche you want to use. That if you look at one event and just one, and you can look at many different events. You can look at the state of Jerusalem and recognizing the capital has been promised by 7 other presidents, and all of them failed. Obama promised it. Carter promised it. Ford promised it. Nixon promised it. Reagan, Clinton, Bush's, all promised to recognize Israel, and they never did. And Trump ran on it. I mean, you could go ahead and talk about the Abraham Accords, which were completely no way. Nobody thought those would take place. You can just have the litany of theological happenstance that happened in that 4 years and what's happened in the last 9 months and make an argument. But there is no better argument than Butler, Pennsylvania.
I left that out. Yeah, of course.
No, you didn't. You know what? Because for all intents and purposes, maybe that's what this show is about, is filling in the gaps. So we tell a really cool story between 3 people who are all pretty intelligent. But that, I want you to imagine where we would be if that round was literally an eighth of an inch to the right.
It would have blown the back of his head off.
He's dead. In fact, you would probably need a micrometer to measure the distance of what that round would have done just from cavitation alone.
Yeah.
Would have killed him and literally just scrambled his noodle. He was unbelievably lucky. And that's impossible. And that's where luck has to be taken out of it. And you have to ask yourself the question, is there something else at play? Is there something else in power? And Donald Trump has completely flipped the script on who he was from 16 to 20 till now. He's not the same man at all.
Completely different.
Agreed.
Go ahead, Leeroy, Dan, whatever. Who wants to talk?
Leeroy, go ahead.
I completely agreed. I was listening to what you were saying. Potentially, Trump is basically sent from God, and in a sense, we all are. But I tend to wonder, like, if like people look at the current Argentinian president, what's his name, Javier Milei, something like that.
Oh, he was there today
Argentina.
at the ceremony. Yeah.
If people within his own country also look at him and say, he was sent by God to keep us out of the clutches of either socialism, communism, fascism. I just wonder about things like that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know if specifically, sent by God. I don't know if that's what I was trying to say, but definitely God puts people within our orbit and in positions of power at certain times to change history. I believe that. I firmly believe that. And I can't look back at what has happened throughout the Trump years. It just reinforces that belief. I don't know. They've been smearing this guy for 10 years.
That's
nothing has happened to him. They've tried to the Russia, the perfect phone call, the laptop from hell getting buried before the election, Butler, PA. I mean, you could go on and just walk through it and see what's happened. And look what's happened in the last 9 months. It's been incredible. It has been a resurgence. And Charlie Kirk, of course, getting killed by a leftist lunatic who was motivated by this rhetoric and these backline deals and chat threads and the media, of course, constantly saying that Trump is Hitler and that we're white supremacists and we need to stop this at any cost. What do you think is going to happen? But you know what? God, again, had a plan. And that is, you know what? I'm going to amplify Charlie. You think you silenced that movement? No, you amplified it. And I don't know how you can see it any different. Even if you're not a believer, you can't deny the fact that the conservative movement has moved forward. And again, to me, that's another sign of God in action. You don't understand it in the moment when it happens. It's horrific. It's tragic. But when you look back on it, it's like, wow, that was,
Yeah.
and now I see why, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Completely agree.
when we talk about this, you don't have to have faith to recognize the consistency and the inconsistency, right? You know what I mean? It's like everything's happenstance. It's not connected. It doesn't work. All these things just happen because of their own volition. But you can tie the sinew together with Trump's presidency with things that have happened throughout the world that have literally saved Israel as it's been saved in the past for the last 3,000 years, 189 times. That can't be all coincidence, right? And if you have just a little bit of faith, and here's the thing, this is what we talked about, right? Leeroy and I, we've talked about this, that if there is even a remote chance of intergalactical beings that can travel to the earth, we would have to assume that even in that tiny, tiny minutia of probability, that they are advanced and could kill us all in a nanosecond. And even if there is just the slightest chance, you have to then assume, because of that probability, that there's a 100% chance that it could happen. And you have to plan for that event. If you look at all of the things that have happened to Donald Trump, you take the list, the P-tapes, Michael Avenatti, Stormy Daniels, the classified documents, you take a look at Mar-a-Lago appraisals, you take a look at E. Jean Carroll, all these things that they've done, 2 impeachments that they've tried to get this guy, everything you just said, you have to assume that even if there is just a slight probability or possibility that God had a hand in it, how can you not assume that that is something we need to plan for? And you're seeing this in the Christian revival that's happening. You're seeing that that book sales, Bible sales are up 300 some odd percent. People are joining. We went from a 91% involved in some form of secondary religion or belief in a higher power in this country 15 years ago, dropped to a 71, and we were literally 15 years away from dropping into the minority Christians were. And now we're seeing that number go back up. So why? Because people have, real quick, people have looked at the leftist ideology. They've looked for the answers in science alone, as Darwin and Nietzsche and all of that replaced religion with science and changed the Age of Enlightenment period, which is the awakening of Christ, and changed it with this scientific misnomer that it's the answer to all things. And they have been sold this lie that climate change and men can be women and men get pregnant and your feelings are more important than facts and all this stuff. And people have repudiated it. So Dan, what I'm saying is that 4 years with Biden, yes, to see the deep state, more to see the failed ideology of the leftist policy, because I don't think there's conservatives and liberals anymore. I think we have good and I think we have evil.
Same.
That's fair.
No, spiritual warfare. Absolutely. I agree.
Something you said a few moments ago too, Dan, sparked a memory that I had of a podcaster who had just pointed out the fact that Trump is the most investigated president ever. That person happens to be Matt. And it was just one of those things that we caught, right before he got reelected. He was struggling and in the polls, and it turns out most of those were fake, but we couldn't necessarily prove that at the time, So when we're talking about whether or not someone is sent by God or maybe has some sort of divine intervention, I mean, honestly, if the Democrats had dug that far and that deep against a political opponent and came up with nothing except, except these felonies that are pretty blatantly, obviously, like false, then yeah, I mean, I think we're in a really decent spot. And recent polls actually show that. The last poll that I saw suggested that the Dems had lost something like 2.5 registered Democrat voters, and the Republicans had gained something like 2.1 million. So you're talking about a 4.6 million change over in voter registration to conservatism, possibly
in 5 years.
That says something.
And you're talking about a 9 million vote swing between 2020 and 2024. So Biden had the popular vote by 7.5 million, 2.1 between Kamala and him. I mean, you're talking just shy of 10 million vote swing. It doesn't happen elections like that. And 7 swing states being completely just obliterated on his side. There were definite key indicators. So, all right, so let's cut our teeth into this because this is important. And I've got videos and crap, but honestly, everyone knows that they watch the show. They watch your show. They know what we're talking about here. But Swalwell, you know, Mr. Eric, I've got herpes, but nobody knows.
I call him Swallowwell, but that's
okay. Yeah, trust me, that home. You know, the one problem with sleeping with a Chinese spy, you want to do it again an hour later. So Swalwell is saying that there is going to be a massive drop. And of course, Joe Rogan, I don't know what Joe Rogan's smoking, but whatever he's got, it's some really good stuff because he was dressed in priestly robes and I don't know what he's doing. But he was talking and releasing that Swalwell says that there's going to be a huge Epstein drop and Trump's name's all over it. And it's massive and it's going to destroy Trump's presidency. And I just want to get your thoughts on this Epstein stuff. And honestly, I am so sick of hearing about it, but I do want to get your take. So why don't you tell us and I'll play the video after.
Oh, man. First of all, Trump is at 51% approval. Rasmussen has him higher than Obama was at this point in his presidency because he just keeps kicking ass and taking names and nothing's stopping him. But now back to Epstein. He's I have to laugh, man. It's just they can't stop it, man. The left is swirling down the toilet, and they're just waiting for the plunger to push them all the way down. Yeah. But they're going to become desperate because of that. But Epstein, he is. Look, if there was anything that would connect Trump to Epstein, it would have already been released. They tried, like you said. To your point, they impeached him twice. They went ahead and, there was the Russia. It was, then they buried the laptop. They tried to kill him for crying out loud via rhetoric to get some sort of lunatic out there to shoot him. And who knows what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. I don't even think that it's been documented to the point where even Bongino and Patel can find out what happened. But, truly the whole thing. But if there was a way to destroy Trump, it would have already happened. This is the dumbest thing ever. And Ghislaine has come out and said that, it's there is no list. And Epstein's attorney has come out. Yeah, there is no list. It's not like people are waiting for a list that identifies by bullet point everybody who's there, who ever spent time with minors on his island. Do I have questions about why somebody was convicted for trafficking minors, yet there's no clients of these minors? Yes, absolutely. I think that those are valid questions. Should you question authority? Should you question your government? Absolutely. A good amount of distrust in your government is healthy. They're so desperate to connect anything to Trump that can bring him down because they can't get a sniper close enough to him because his security is through the roof, right? And so the only way they could try to bring him down is through scandal. It's not going to happen. If it existed, it would already be there. And again, I really want to stress that, yes, I have questions about Epstein. Am I happy with the information that's come out so far? No, not at all. Do I want to see more? Do I want to see the names? Yes, I do. But the Democrats, after not caring about it for the last 20 years, are suddenly going to come in and say, after they've been trying to hang Trump for 10, they're going to come in and say that this is going to bring him down.
Right.
Bullshit.
Well, so let's listen to this. Then Leeroy, give us a comment. We'll see what we are. I don't know what's going on with Rogan, but
weird, right?
I think he's tripping a little bit too much. I mean, there are a certain amount of hits of acid that you can take, and you've got, at some point you're turning to Roger Waters.
No, it's not. No, it's the other. What's the other thing that they take?
Mescaline, or I don't know what.
Mescaline and different things.
I don't know what he's taken. Whatever he's taken, I'm not sure what's going on here. Watch this, listen to this, and try not to get distracted by his priestly garb and giant crucifix around his neck made out of wood.
What the hell's he wearing?
I don't know, dude. Let's just watch. I know. Just listen to this. Here we go.
Swalwell said this stuff today. And it might not be true, but
it's coming to an end, guys. I've spoken to a lot of House Republicans this week, and they confided that Trump's movement support is.
Oh, they're shutting us down.
This Epstein bomb is about to drop. No one wants to defend a pedo protector. It's just a matter of time, Swalwell said in a thread. One Republican just texted me that if there's a discharge vote on Epstein, they expect a jailbreak of over 100 members. Trump will go nuts, he added.
They said, this further goes on to say that if they get back, that this is the first thing on the docket, and that's sort of what's holding them back in recess right here.
Wow. We are watching wild history in real time.
Dude!
This is a wild scene.
Rick Swalwell.
Listen, Leeroy, you chime in. I know, man. I'm baffled. I'm just like, listen, maybe I don't want to get rich because I think you lose your effing mind when you do. Leeroy, your thoughts on this, and then we'll kind of put it to bed. And I just wanted to scratch this because, Swalwell, he's always so accurate with his predictions,
Him and Kinzinger.
No shit. Kinzinger and Swalwell, I swear to God. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, I think Dan hit it right on the head, is that if there was anything there, they would have brought it up already because they were using anything they could to keep him out of the White House to begin with, right? So the idea that all of a sudden they have this smoking gun, now we have the golden bullet, I'm not necessarily buying it. We just got done talking about it, how Trump is the most investigated man in history. Is this more just political bluster in order to sandbag his progress? Is that what this is? Something else that's interesting is I really feel like the Democrats, James Madison, the father of our Constitution, once said that the truth is all men having power ought to be mistrusted. And I feel like that only works in their favor when there's a Republican in charge, whereas at least we on the right, we have that trust all the time, right? And I can say that, hey, you know what? If Donald Trump really was on Epstein Island and really did do something, I don't necessarily follow Trump to begin with. I have my own personal set of values. That's why I can think independently. And if he did something wrong, then sure, convict him of it. Is it there? Probably not.
Well, yeah, it's not probably. It comes down to this. Just because listen, Donald Trump was a playboy. He's a billionaire. This is New York. Right. This is a lifestyle. Yeah. And just because Epstein 20 years ago or 15 years after that is a complete douche plow who got involved in things that every single person who has any morals or scruples would repudiate, it doesn't mean that they weren't just literally sleeping with anything that could move or walk. And here's the problem. Is that if I'm going to sit here and cast the first rock, then listen, I got around. Before I settled down with Olivia, that was my MO, and I was a pig. And when you grow up and as a man, that's really all you think about from the age of pretty much 12 years old all the way to about 28. That's all you're thinking about. And then
now add millions of dollars to that.
Right.
And drugs.
And copious amounts of time. And drugs, and Trump never drank, and he never did drugs.
Not for Trump, but yeah.
But you know what I mean, and that's another thing we need to understand is that Donald Trump's he's unimpeachable because he has stayed away from the vices and sin, and the one thing that he did was get around, and the Democrats, if they wanted to destroy him, they wouldn't have need to make up E. Jean Carroll. Yeah. They wouldn't need to go ahead and create the other 16 nobody knows about. They wouldn't even need to do this to Kavanaugh. They did it to Clarence Thomas. They have done this to everybody, and it's a cookie cutter situation that America's finally catching on to. So enough on that.
And that's the key. They're catching on to it.
Oh yeah, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah,
you can't keep.
He got around. He doesn't hide the fact that back in the day, he's running beauty pageants. I love it when they pull up a 25-year-old picture of Trump and Epstein together at some beauty pageant or some fashion show. It's like, so what, man? They all walked in the same circles. They all traveled the same red carpets. That was the group, and it didn't matter.
Right.
You had the money. You had that's what you did. That doesn't make him a pedophile. And again, it just goes back to, if that were true, if it existed, it would have already been. They would have already taken him down with it.
Exactly.
There's nothing there. This information is not new. It's been the Epstein files, whatever the hell they want to call them. I call them the X files. They've been sitting there forever, and they didn't give a shit about them until Trump got elected the second time, and now all of a sudden that's their excuse. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right, man. I push buttons all the time.
That clip loaded. See, you're a pro. You've dealt with that. But that's the ever loving truth, right? If there is evidence, right? Not you pulling up a 2014 court record where somebody made an accusation and then disappeared, then came back and did it in 16, then disappeared, then came back in 20 and made these accusations, then disappeared again. We're talking about actual exculpatory evidence with a trial, with a conviction, and then throw them under the jail if that's what happened. But we all know it's not true. And we all know that the left clutches its pearls and they sit here and sexualize and chemically castrate kids and then sit there on the other side of their mouth and go, we care about kids, and then abort 67 million of them. And then on the other side, talk about school shootings, but won't go ahead and protect these soft targets. It's all about politics. It's all about the political theater with these people. They don't give a shit about anybody.
Exactly. Yeah. Half the time when I make those prefaces, these caveats, it's because I know that there's going to be somebody out there who's listening and going, "Oh, well, he would never want to convict Trump." Well, that's not true, provided it is something provable and guilty. Yeah, but their side, and I've heard it multiple times from multiple podcasters who have all said, "Oh, well, Hillary Clinton, sure, she may have had, an illegal server, but that's fine. It's not illegal."
It's a little more than that. Leeroy and I would still be in Leavenworth if we did anything that Hillary Clinton did. We would still be there.
Exactly, and that's the point. Is that I'm trying to point out that the further left you go on the political spectrum, the more hypocrisy you're willing to accept.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so let's shift into this.
Somebody in the chat, 5508 Fisher says, Paul Pelosi hammer time. I don't know what they're talking about.
Dude, our chat's lit up, dude. It's like Facebook's doing.
I think they're getting along. I think your people are my people. I think they're kind of getting along.
I think we're gonna have a baby. I think it's exciting. I think the third coming.
I don't know what that's gonna look like.
It's gonna be a very intelligent, good-looking human being with flowing locks,
with great hair. With great hair.
We can talk, but either way, it looks like hopefully has your brains and my my propensity for coloring of beard. We'll see. Here's the thing. On this show, we have went after Donald Trump sometimes during his reelection bid. I got a little bit upset with playing cards. I was like, this is stupid. What are we doing? I got a little sick of golden shoes and cryptocurrency. I was like, can we start focusing on the issues? And we knew abortion was going to be a huge topic in this election because it literally dictated everything since 2016. And let's face it, 16 was our golden year, but 18, 20, 22, and 24 did not go the way of MAGA. It is hard for me to see us losing in 2026, even where we're at. But there's some redistricting stuff we need to talk about that, honestly, the Democrats wanted to play this game.
They can't win.
No, they can't. And not only can they not win, they'll never win again if this keeps up. Because this is the kind of the linchpin of this. But I want to talk about this little clip. And it's only about 14 seconds, and we're going to dive into it. And yes, this is the big one. I think you and I agree on this subject more than any other subject, Dan. And that is these people who have platforms who don't deserve to have platforms because they have absolutely zero integrity at times.
We're going to surveil everybody.
All right, so we might go ahead and say, all right, well, Tucker Carlson, you know what? I'm going to leave that alone because Tucker has done enough good where I can just ignore him for a little longer.
I agree. I mean, and some of his interviews that are non-political, they're actually kind of interesting. I still watch some of this stuff, I guess.
I'm with you. I like mentioning the Jews 489 times in 6 months. That's a little much.
No, I agree.
That's a little much. And
I'm on the edge with him. I'm with you.
I am too. I'm going to defend him because for 30 years, I've watched him and I've watched him grow up in Washington and seen it. And I'm going to give him the benefit for a little bit longer. But with
I want to go
Candace,
fly fishing with the guy. That's on my bucket list. If I could go fly fishing with Tucker Carlson on some river and just have a conversation, mano a mano, that would be, my life would be complete.
you can go fly fishing with me and we'll call it good. And I'll just pretend and I'll have an obnoxious laugh and I'll work on it.
God.
Candace Owens, dude, I've been railing against Candace Owens and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I've lost viewers because of it.
Three years I've been going after her, dude. And you're the only other caster that now it's popular, because everyone's once Megyn Kelly did it, everyone's like, oh, it's popular now. But we were doing that shit for 3 years ago. Lay it on me, dude. I give you the microphone. Go off and do what you need to do.
She's just. She's in her own world. I don't know what happened. She went off the rails, man. She's a huge influencer. She has millions of followers on every platform, like 3, 4, 5, 8 million viewers on some places. And some of them actually believe her. The part that really is bothersome to me is the fact that a lot of hardcore conservatives that also have largish platforms are diving down this rabbit hole with her. And one of my biggest complaints with her is it always comes back to her, whether it's the Macron wife is a man and this, and look at me, and I know this, and I know so-and-so told me this. And she has this tip line. She has this tip line where people send stuff into, and then she just regurgitates it as if it's fact without doing any actual checking on it. It's like she wants us to believe that some Mossad ninja jumped out of the ground and killed Charlie Kirk. And then it's like, don't we're not stupid, and please don't treat us like we are. But yet she goes out there night after night after night, and I've lost viewers because of this position, and because there are hardcore believers that really just believe everything she says, even though she doesn't bring a single receipt to the table. And then all of a sudden she exposes this private text message that proves Charlie was going to leave the Jews, which proved actually nothing. It was a private message that was never meant to be public. A message, by the way, that TPU had and gave to the FBI as part of their investigation. And it was never meant to be publicized. It was a private conversation. Charlie was venting amongst his inner circle, as people do when in your, you have that tight circle, if it's business or politics or whatever it is, and it's not meant to be public. It didn't prove what was that supposed to show, that there was some sort of connection between Israel killing him? It's insane.
He lost $2.1 million. I'd be pissed too.
Oh, she has gone places that I didn't even think. I think Terry and I, my wife Terry, we were talking about this, is she might actually believe some of the shit she's talking about, because is she a grifter? Yes. Has she capitalized off of Charlie's death? Yes. It's fucking disgusting, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But I think some of it she actually believes. And she's starting to go down to this place. I don't know if her husband entertains this for her, if he supports her with this, or if she's got him wrapped around her, is so great that he just ignores her. I don't know what's going on. All I know is she's a distraction. She's doing more harm than good. She's not helping the cause in any way whatsoever. She's helping herself.
Real quick, and Leeroy, I want you to take. I don't blame Candace Owens. I blame her viewers, because they're empowering her. I can't tell you how many
low
times
information viewers, low information. If they're going to sit there and believe stuff without a single receipt being presented just because she said so.
Yes. And I hear that all the time. Hey, she's just asking questions. Why don't you go and just wait, just let her do her work. What work? I mean, I can literally make shit up all day long, and I can go ahead and say I can wear a pink tutu and I can flutter off the cliff and fly around, but it doesn't mean it's true. Leeroy, your take on this? I know that you've never been a huge Candace fan, and your claim to fame with her is, what did she really ever say that was smart? And there was really only one thing, which was Black families were losing the patriarch and the matriarch and their values and religion, and the government was subsidizing, essentially destroying the family unit inside inner city slave plantations. Wonderful take, but She was fired from TPUSA 6 years ago. She has no input in that company, and I don't know what the hell she's talking about. Go ahead, Leeroy.
Yeah, dude, she was kicked out of Brexit. She was kicked out of Daily Wire. She was kicked out of TPUSA.
Right.
She obviously doesn't play well with others, right?
Her claim to fame is that John Stossel had taken notice of her. She had a few videos that went viral after she had made a string of somewhat conservative videos, basically saying that it would be easier to come out to your parents as gay than it would be to come out as a conservative or Republican. And so John Stossel had taken a couple of notes on her and said, oh my God, here is an intelligent, articulate black woman. We want to have her on the show to show how that is influencing the black community. Now, as great as that sounds, when you kind of at some point in your career, right, you take the Kool-Aid, and I don't know when that exactly happened for her, but I mean at this point in the game, I really do kind of equivalate to her to be as effective at damaging the Republican Party or the conservative name as Nick Fuentes.
Yes.
Same kind of slime almost.
It's a lot to unpack, and I understand that people want to be trepidatious, right? I understand that people want to be hesitant, and everything has to be a conspiracy. But when everything is a conspiracy and nothing is believable,
right,
then there is no such thing as incontrovertible truth. There's no such thing as exculpatory evidence, and we might as well just call ball game. If you believe the government is so damn effective, let me tell you from two people who worked for the government, it ain't in any way, shape, or form. And the old adage from Franklin that three can keep a secret if two are dead is 100% tried and true in the government. And I know you guys think that, you can go ahead and hide 60,000 people involved in a stolen election and don't want to believe that it was unconstitutional and mail-in ballots was what happened, and they used the courts to steal that election, which we call an unconstitutional election. We don't want to believe that. We want to believe in Dominion servers. We want to believe in the boogeyman. We want to believe that everything in Kennedy, that the obvious answer is the Secret Service mucked up and they got Kennedy killed. We understand the shooter and the window dressing is all there, but if the Secret Service did their job, then Kennedy would not have been killed. It's okay just to find out the why and the root cause of something, and you don't have to make a bunch of shit up. And that's the one thing I love, Dan, that you're saying here, because we've been saying these type of things for years of I understand the facts don't always add up, but just because they don't add up doesn't mean you get to put in equations that aren't confirmed, because all you're going to do is just get some garbled mess.
There's a logical. Go ahead.
She's become a video tabloid, is what it is. And to your point, sometimes the obvious answer is the answer. Sometimes not everything is a conspiracy. It's like you don't need to try to paint everything as some sort of conspiracy. It's tiresome. It's really tiresome. And one of the things I get a lot is, well, because I say, look, so you're telling me that all of Charlie's inner circle, the TPU staff, local law enforcement, local politicians, Dan Bongino, and Kash Patel, and the Department of Justice, they're all in on this wild conspiracy to cover up the murder of Charlie Kirk. Yeah. You're crazy. And then people tell me, well, what about Kennedy? I'm like, this is not 1960.
Right.
This is not the 1960s. There is way too much information out there, and there's
a logical fallacy that's known to. It's been out there for 100 years. It's called Hinland's razor.
Yes,
and it basically says that it's easier to assign an event to conspiracy rather than incompetence. Yeah. And I think that's how we're looking at it. Yeah.
And Occam's razor also is applied here too, right? So Occam's razor is absolutely applied here. And I will say this, that it was easier to sell a conspiracy in Kennedy's days because we did not have digital footprint. We did not have ELINT, human intelligence. It was easier. And I have broken down that assassination. Anytime you would love to do that, it's one of my probably most studied time periods of history is Kennedy's administration and the assassination of Kennedy. And I love talking about it. So if that's even an itch for you, we got to do that.
Nice.
Let's shift gears. Folks, I know we usually do this and I forgot to tell you, but because Dan is a fellow podcaster, donations are acceptable while he's on. we've had 0 and we always hit goal. It's okay. You guys, green light. You can donate. It's totally fine. This is different. As a podcaster, I'm not bringing Dan on to make money. He knows that. But when we have another guest on who it's a little bit different, if they're selling a book or something, I don't want to take away from their thing. Dan, tell everyone how they can get to you. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back. Show a commercial. But tell us how they find you, where to find you, what time they find you, and we're going to come back to the second half of the show.
Yeah, so in case you missed the information, my name's Dan Nunn. The show is The Nunn Report on weekdays at 4 Eastern Time, exclusively on Rumble, the free speech alternative to ScrewTube. And you can find me on all the socials at The Nunn Report, except for X, because they nuked me. So there I'm at The Nunn Report US.
Please do me a favor. Go over and see Dan. Hit him on Facebook. Please go hit him on Rumble. And then anyone who's over in his show, come do the same thing, please. Glenn Clark donated $25 for the bacon. Thank you. We appreciate it, Glenn. Do me a favor. And
you got bacon?
We do. We have bacon and not that leathery Band-Aid shit. Folks, quick commercial. Please, this is a pee break moment. We'll be right back more with Dan Nunn, and we're having a great time. We appreciate it. We're going to get into some heavier topics. Now that we've got our legs kind of stretched and we're hitting our stride, we're ready to go and rock and roll. Hang with us. It's going to be a good show. We'll be right back in 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Olivia Spear, host of The DUM Show. For 3.5 years, we never asked for donations, but after Facebook demonetized us for speaking the truth, we've had to turn to the one thing big tech can't cancel: you.
I'm Hayden, Matt and Olivia's daughter. This show's never chased sponsors or sold out. We've built something honest, and it's thanks to you.
I'm Ethan, their son. Every share, every dollar, every message, you're the reason we can keep calling out the BS and bringing color back to the world going gray.
If you want to help, we take PayPal, Venmo, or snail mail. You can send it to P.O. Box 2, Round Hill, Virginia 20142.
Can't donate? No problem. Just share the show with someone who needs to hear it.
Thanks for helping us stay loud, proud, and completely uncensored. You can donate at thedumshow.com/donate.
You know what happens when you turn the dial harder? You can make a harder grimace. The harder you grimace, the more effective it is.
You tighten it so freaking I can't do it. I can't untighten it.
That's what she said.
That's what she's... Oof. Oof. Coming in with it. Pound it. Pound it. Pound.
Child got 15.
Ethan, you look like a hippie.
Told the YouTube you will.
You know this is recording, right?
Okay, let's go. Smile. Donate. Don't start with me. Donations. Every time you don't smile, I'm going to punch you in the ribs. Donations. Take one. Scene one. Ready. Set. Ethan.
Break.
Ready. Don't screw it up.
Okay.
Ethan, don't mess this up. Ready. Set. Action. No. Whoa. Director calls action, not some stupid toddler.
But we've built something
There's no but there. Why do you've been doing this since you were 2 years old. Try it again.
Just share the show with someone who needs to hear it.
He's so much better than you at everything.
He's better at
Hayden, he's just like, even, it's just, go ahead, Hayden.
Thanks for helping us stay loud, proud, and completely uncensored.
That's a wrap. Well done, Spear family. I bet we make no money.
But I'm going to owe them money without.
Hayden, do your thing again.
Oh, yeah, cut it.
Baby shark, doo 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 doo.
Yes, thank you for your support. You can go to thedumshow.com/donate. You can also click these QR codes right here. They're going to start pouring in now. We always appreciate everybody. 300 is our goal. We've kept it that way for years, even when Facebook demonetized us, and we don't care. Jeffrey Styles donated $10 through Super Chat. God bless. Thank you, Jeff.
Jeffrey.
So let's get into the next point. We appreciate the donations, folks. It helps keep us on. Once again, you can enjoy the show. It's 100% free. We always try to tell people when it feels good, do it. If it doesn't, don't. Take care of yourself. Put your oxygen on first, all that type of stuff. The Pentagon, Newsmax opposes Pentagon press restrictions. This is kind of ironic, and this is our wheelhouse here for Leeroy and I, but Newsmax is upset because there continues to be leaks coming through on just about everything that gets out. So they've taken a real strong stand against new Pentagon restrictions. Leeroy, you call this one out, please.
Thank you, Jeffrey Stiles, who donated. Nope, that's a repeat. Yep.
It's a repeat. It's okay. That is called a threat to press freedom of government and transparency. Actually, the government is not required to give you any classified information on anything of details of war. Newsmax has taken a strong stand against new Pentagon restrictions that it's called a threat to press freedom. Department of War recently introduced a new set of rules governing how reporters interact with department officials, including a ban on reporting on classified information. Oh, bummer. Sparking widespread criticism. Under the proposed policy, media organizations would be required to sign an agreement to adhere to specific guidelines before gaining access to Pentagon officials and information. Newsmax and the other critics say these restrictions represent an undue limitation on press freedoms guaranteed by the First Amendment. So let's ask the question. Is the Department of War responsible for providing the press with information of a classified nature without any such thing as an NDA or a binding agreement that stops them from printing things that they're not supposed to? Leeroy, why don't you start off? And then Dan, we're all constitutionalists here, so we can get to talk about the First Amendment and kind of decide what we think. Go ahead, Leeroy.
Sure. I'm going to say no, and that each classification level that could potentially be leaked is automatically linked to some level of damage to the national security. CJ Jenkins donated $21.10. Says, great show again. And welcome, Dan. Thank you very much, CJ. You're awesome.
Thanks, CJ. We love you.
For each classification level, so top secret, secret, confidential, there are various levels of damage to the national security that's actually how you define what those classification levels are. When something is classified as top secret, for example, they consider it to be extremely grave damage to the national security. So for any media organization to automatically assume that they're privy to that just by virtue of their business is insane. And Newsmax needs to pull that down right away because they just made themselves look bad.
Yes.
Go ahead, Dan, your thoughts, and then I'll chime in a second.
No, I agree. I mean, the whole thing is no, they don't have to tell you shit. I mean, if it's classified, it doesn't. And in fact, they don't need to tell you anything. I mean, what makes you think you're some sort of privileged, entitled entity that has to know every single thing? It's like, I want to know everything about the Charlie Kirk investigation. Why? It's an active investigation. You don't get to know that. I'm sorry. So that, I mean, I'm not, you guys got the experience in that orbit. I don't, but from a constitutional standpoint and from a common sense standpoint, I would just say that no. Why? What makes the media feel they're clutching onto, something they've had forever, which is the control of information, and they can't stand the idea of losing that, and it's becoming more and more evident the more control that they lose, and they're getting desperate. And I'm sorry to see Newsmax getting mixed up in that, because I've seen Newsmax kind of go that way sometimes on certain things. I don't always agree. In fact, I find myself agreeing with them less and less the more time that passes. I don't know what they're doing over there. And I know a lot of creators, they get airtime on Newsmax and stuff like that. And that's cool. That's great. Conservative content creators, Sean Farish, other guys that I know, great. The folks from LFA TV, have a great relationship with them. That's cool. But at the same time, they're not really impressing me in a lot of circumstances. I don't know what you think. What do you think, Matt?
I happen to agree with everything you're saying. I think that Newsmax kind of lost the plot when they saw what happened to Fox, and they were saying the same things. And when it came to the election, and I think Newsmax had a meeting and said, we have to go into protection mode and we need to be a little bit more what they would consider to be middle. Unfortunately, I just haven't really listened to them the way I used to. After Trump was elected. And now here's my thought process is that,
why do you think that is though? What's
I think they're scared of getting their asses sued. I think, a $700 million lawsuit for saying some things about the election really hamstrung Fox and sent everyone kind of on their ear in the conservative news channels to be very, very careful. This is where we saw Mark Levin get neutered. They were going to take away his show if he kept talking about the stolen election. Laura Ingraham also got neutered. You definitely, Joanne Townsend, $10. Great show, guys. And Bob, also thank you. Your listener from Dan, who gives you money every week. We thank you so much for helping us out. It means the world. But I think you also take a look at Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity was absolutely clipped. I mean, you saw him rubbing shoulders with Gavin Newsom. I think what that lawsuit did is it put conservative media on notice that there's accountability, at least from a financial standpoint, from the corporate shareholders and stockholders, maybe not from the actual editorialization of the hosts, but the actual company that is getting people laid off. CNN saw this, and this was a preemptive from some of the lawsuits they lost. That's why they got rid of Don Lemon and got rid of Brian Stelter and others, is because things that they were saying were
they brought Stelter back.
Yeah, I know. Well, they did, because they waited to the statute of limitations, fired him, reduced the penalty of their overall court agreement, and then brought him back afterwards. It's the most ridiculous thing. It's a game of selling advertisement, and they are so afraid to lose their sponsors, and they will lose their sponsors. You said it best. We talk about Candace and we lose viewers of it. Well, if they talk about Candace, or if they talk about certain things that are unpopular, they're going to lose theirs. Brenda Shepard, $10.
Thank you, Brenda.
Real quick, just wanted to, because it's better than Netflix. Yes, it is, damn it. With my kids, I told my daughter, I said, if you can't fold your laundry and you can't sweep your floor, how do you expect me to give you a car? And we learned this in the military. The reason why you shine shoes and you fold your socks a certain way and you tuck your bed in is because I'm not going to give you a fully automatic weapon before I know that you're not dumb enough to hang yourself with your sheet. Right? Or eat your socks, or, whatever, or eat the shoe polish because you're hungry. You have people who don't need to be involved in those things. And when I look at the press, if you're not capable of getting basic stories right that have no confidential sources, then why should the U.S. government trust you with something that could literally get people killed? Here's a perfect example that segues into this. How the media prematurely led the public to believe that a South Carolina judge's house fire was politically motivated by a conservative. Dan already knows where I'm going with this. It's great. I love it. Here, let me do the preface. Dan, you're going to be able to go first on this one because I can see you're already cooking. Let me take a look at this. Everyone remembers this fire. It was a monstrous fire. First of all, that house is ridiculous. That somebody who's in politics has a house that size. But second,
where is that?
This is in South Carolina. This is on Edisto Beach. So it's a $1.5 million judge's house, reportedly caught fire at 11:30. When the fire broke out, her husband, former Democratic State Senator Arnold Goodstein, was reportedly home with family members. They were forced to jump out of the 3-story waterfront property, were later rescued on an adjacent marshland. They were reportedly hospitalized and suffered serious injuries. The Supreme Court Chief Justice reportedly sent a message on Saturday afternoon that the fire was caused by an apparent explosion, prompting an investigation. All this was reported on October 4th by the South Carolina outlet Fitz News, which described the fire as alleged arson. Multiple sources close to Goodstein who said she had received death threats in recent weeks. They thought it was mentioned in Fitz News. Scratch that. Around 4 p.m. Eastern, October 6th, Sled Chief announced the organization did not find any evidence to indicate the fire was intentionally set to support a pre-fire explosion. Nonetheless, on the same day, the litany of major mainstream publications had already decided to run the aforementioned details, spinning, slanting, and sensationalizing coverage to guide readers and one Democratic congressman to believe the fire was an act of Republican political violence. They didn't put that in there because it was. Dan, you know about this story. It leads us into what we were just talking about. If you can't be trusted with socks and shoe polish, why in the hell am I going to give you the nuclear football? Go for it, buddy.
I mean, the embers weren't even cold, and MSNBC and CNN and ABC, all those are the three that I know of. Probably others too. We're running with the story that the fact that it's the conservatives that are with violent rhetoric towards leftist judges obviously caused this, and it was arson. And it turns out it wasn't arson at all. And the fact that a congressperson jumped on that bandwagon. These are not serious people. You look at you can't even trust our media. How are you going to trust Congress people who jump on their stories like that without any receipts whatsoever? I mean, I don't know about you. I've always been a huge fan of the Dan Bongino show, and having that go away is and I tell people, man, that's 60 minutes of in-your-face meat and potatoes. I love that stuff. I do that on my show too, but it's a 2-hour show, so I mix it up with a bit of weirdness. I'm trying to separate my show from other stuff. please follow me on Rumble at the Nunn Report. And but he always had that 24-hour rule. It's like it's not a bad rule. It's just like you don't need to be first. It's better to be right than to be first.
Right.
And he said
That's
that
right.
all the time. And the fact that you have people making 7 figures working at these networks to just read a script of whatever the producer puts in front of them is pathetic. And then you have Congress people that just follow suit. That whole story, that irritated the hell out of me when it came out. I didn't cover it on my show because it was just so full of stuff. There's been a lot going on. How can you cover everything? I don't know how you can do that.
Well, and that's the key. Leeroy, I want to get your thoughts, but you can't cover
So that's the first
everything.
time I've got to talk about it. So thank you.
No, dude, it's my pleasure. And listen, the one thing we get a lot of is that, and it means the world to me, is people want to compare you to people. And, we get that a lot of the things that we do are very similar to Dan. We don't like to go ahead of our skis.
Look, I'm pimping out.
Oh, I didn't see it. Hold on. Sister Mary McGroin via Rumble Chat donated $10. I think that is one of your listeners. Again,
that's one of my friends. Yeah.
They're very good people. The shirt says, I can't see it. You got to wait for this. Those who trade freedom. Oh, wonderful, wonderful quote.
I know that quote.
Yep.
Yeah.
Give the whole
Those
quote.
who would trade freedom for security deserve neither.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
But I feel like whenever that dollar sign pops up on the screen, I feel like a pimp. Just saying.
Well, you've got the hair for it, so it works. It works. All we need to do is get you a pink fedora.
I left my fur coat. My fur coat's over on the coat rack.
I got a purple fedora and a jacket with some Jaguar trim on it, dude. It would look great for you. Remind me to show you a picture of that outfit, by the way. This was in a college. A gentleman had some. As we know, we can look at the person and immediately know what's going to be brought up. And his argument was, because the State Department is asking for Russia to rebuild Ukraine as a part of these treaty deals, should Israel rebuild Gaza? And here's the question, and I'm going to throw it up for grabs for either of you, so whoever wants to ding in and answer first. I think it's a ridiculous question. I've got my opinion. We'll want to get yours too. Here is the question. And of course, the people doing the presentation dodged it.
You have been repeating several times that Russia should repay for the reconstruction of Ukraine. Do you believe Israel should repay for the reconstruction of Gaza, since they have destroyed almost all the strip and the civilian infrastructures? Thank you.
It's definitely an interesting question on which I would not have any comment at this stage.
Of course you don't. Of course you don't. I got an answer. You're not going to like it. Who wants to go? I mean, what's your answer? I mean, everyone probably has an opinion on the panel.
I think Eric Trump should rebuild Gaza. I think that the Trump organization should go in and just totally take all that beachfront property, put golf resorts and hotels and everything, and just let Eric Trump pay for it with the Trump organization, and then we'll own it, and the left will be able to say, "Look, we told you so."
That's right. He could take some of that $2.1 billion that he got from Saudi Arabia, allegedly.
And Jared Kushner can get in on the deal too. I mean, they're all in on it, right?
No, he's a Jew. You can't do that. You can't have any Jewish ownership.
That's true. And he also converted Ivanka. So, dang it.
She's she's off the market. I'm so disappointed. I don't understand they're taking over the world. They got Ivanka. They got Kushner. We are 100% pro-Israel on this show because we don't sit there and isolate an entire group of people based upon their theological and ethnicity. There are bad Jews. There are good Jews. There are bad Muslims. There are good Muslims. There are good Americans. There are bad Americans. There's good black people. There's bad black people. There's good white people. There are no good Mormons. So now that we've established this, that was a joke. It's okay. You can laugh.
What about Mitt Romney? He's a good guy.
When he had Binder full of women, he was edgy. Now he's just a dipshit.
That was the best line he ever had.
Yeah, it was. He's just this dork now. Leeroy, your thoughts? Should Israel rebuild Gaza? Because we have okay. You got. Let me set up the question for the viewers. Sure. Should Israel rebuild Gaza since Russia should rebuild Ukraine? And is this a form of Proctor Hawk? Which is because of A and B, it must equal C. I want to get your thoughts.
So I'm going to say no, but I'm also going to say that the premise for the question itself stems from some student out there, somebody going through academia who has an authoritarian complex to begin with. That's how most authoritarian sects start by saying, oh, so-and-so should do this. You should do that. You shouldn't have this. You shouldn't have that. That's how authoritarianism starts. So the premise for the question itself is already flawed. That being said, I think it should be up to Bibi. If Bibi wants to do it, or if most of the people of Israel want to do it, then sure, let them do it. Me personally, I would say hell no, because Israel was attacked. Ukraine never attacked Russia just on the front of, oh, well, we're just going to go ahead and start taking land. No, that was a Russia thing. I know because I was there in 2014 when Putin rolled over the line into Crimea.
Yeah, little civil war going on, but civil war is not literally a terrorist attack of that magnitude. And remember the hostages that I love the news. Like they're showing the Palestinian hostages, and they're like, look at the way they were taken care of. I'm like, yeah, all these people who bombed and murdered children. Oh, the horror that they actually treated civilians a little bit more humanely than people who committed hellacious crimes. I mean, if you look at that 2,000 person list that they released, it literally is the core of the worst of the Hamas terrorists, and everyone knows that this is not going to last. Hamas will not allow it to last. They're not going to lay down their arms. They're going to hold on. They're going to reformulate. They're going to increase their strength. Iran is still going to run proxy through the IRGC, the JIP, Hezbollah when it renegotiates itself, the Houthis. This isn't going to stop, and this is the problem. Is a half measure was done. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, 40,000 people died. It's still a half measure. You should have put Israel to take over that. You should have removed all of them and created them as refugees and get them out of that country. Israel needs to be its own sovereign state. Muslims need to be coming in who are vetted. And it's literally a huge problem for Israel. Now we know what's going to happen in 2 years. But, Dan, should they go ahead and pay for the rebuild of Gaza?
No, absolutely not. I mean, they weren't the aggressors. They didn't start this. And, if anybody, I mean, if they're going to pay for the rebuild, fine, push them all into the sea, and then Israel owns the land and they can rebuild it for themselves, not for somebody else. Nobody wants the Palestinians. Why? Why doesn't Jordan take them? Why doesn't Egypt take them? These are legitimate questions that no one's asking. And to your point about Israel, that it's okay to question a government, the government of Israel, right? I could make bad points about them, several. I can criticize them all day long. That doesn't mean I don't support the nation of Israel. They've been our longest standing ally in the region, our only ally in the region oftentimes. Why would you want to turn your back on them? And it just shows, again, the ignorance, perhaps the arrogance of the leftists that are in this country to just kind of just want to discard them and blame Israel for all of this. It's ridiculous because, and again, you can criticize the government of Israel and probably justifiably so in many cases. That doesn't mean that the nation of Israel itself isn't justified,
And they use it. It used to be that they would say, and pardon the racial epitaphs here, but I really don't care. Used to say kike or shyster or whatever, and I can say this because I've got Jewish blood on my mother's side, so I don't want to hear it.
Okay.
And I know a Jew, so I'm friends with one. So
I know underneath that baseball cap you've got one of those little things.
I do. It's called a flowing full head of hair. Look at this thing. It's not like you, but it's like a Brillo pad for sure. So the thing is that then you couldn't say those things, and it turned into that you could only say they're Zionists. And the whole point about being a Zionist is the sovereignty of Israel and that they have a right to defend their borders and they have a right to exist, and the sovereignty is important. But now it's turned into Zionism is another way to call someone a racial moniker. And this is the problem. When people say, hey, I don't have a problem with Jews, I have a problem with Netanyahu. And then in the next sentence, by the way, the Holocaust was fake. By the way, the USS Liberty, they attacked the Americans. By the way, the Rothschilds. By the way, the Bolshevik Revolution were a bunch of Jews. And, the Talmud, they're boiling freaking Jesus and human excrement. And I'm like, That doesn't sound like you're attacking Israel and politics. It sounds like you hate Jews. Oh, that's right. I'm anti-Semitic. Yeah, that's me. And you're just sitting here going, dude, I would respect you a shit ton more if you would just come out and say, I don't like Jews. I don't think we should mingle with Jews. I don't want them to be a part of our lives. Because a lot of us did that after 9/11. After 9/11 happened, Muslims were kind of like off. We didn't want their mosques. We didn't want them around. We were really angry at them. And I'm not saying that was right, but at least those people were honest. So when Candace Owens and Stu Peters and Jake Shields and Nick Fuentes and all these guys say, we're just questioning the government, we really don't have a problem with that. By the way, black people should go on an island and live somewhere else, and they shouldn't date white women. That probably is a little racist. I'm pretty sure we can understand that racism actually exists, even though the left have weaponized it, that it does actually exist in the world, and we should call it out when we see it. Dan, your thoughts on this? Are we crazy? Are we not on pace here, or do we have it all wrong?
No, it's absolutely on target. I mean, this is a nation that deserves to exist, and to your point, should be recognized as a nation. And you know, Palestine, it's not a nation. It never has been. It doesn't exist. It's just a made up thing that they decided. You know, we are the Palestinian people. Okay, you know, great. So now you're going to take somebody else's land because you think it was your ancestors' land. I don't agree with it. And as far as, you know, I was thinking about Candace Owens, just to backtrack a little bit. Her and Marjorie Taylor Greene should put a show together, and the two of them could do a great. What is up with her, Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Dude, I've been saying it for 3 years. You know how many times I got called a neocon? You're a neocon. You're a liberal because you're telling Marjorie Taylor Greene's the greatest person to happen to this party. I'm like, she is dumber than fucking dirt.
Horrible. Yes.
This is who you idolize? This is a great segue because I've got a Marjorie Taylor Greene video loaded.
Hey, I thought we were gonna be in World War III by now, dropping nukes all over the place, right?
Yeah, I thought Jewish space lasers were gonna be killing us indiscriminately, like the Lahaina fires. I don't know.
Yeah, so it kind of transitions.
It scans those. Why didn't the Jews just literally melt Gaza with their Jewish space lasers or hit Iran with them? Why did they need the United States?
Yes.
Leeroy, go ahead.
Dan, one of the great friends of the show is a gentleman named T.S. Dixon. He's an amazing man. He's written a book. It was called The Woke Mind Virus. And I bring this up because one of the points that both of you have made is something that he reaffirmed. The left is so anti-religion that, and Israel is basically a nation that is almost defined by its religion, right? And because the left is so anti-religion, really, the idea behind them is that they have prioritized the state as their religion, whereas more conservative people, we tend to prioritize God over state, right? And so that would have been the point that T.S. Dixon would have made, I think, and I just wanted to point that out.
Well, they are an ethno-religious group, just like most of the Middle Eastern countries. When Pastor Gill's coming on the show at the end of the month, and this is my pastor, and he made it, he said it the absolute best. And then I'm turning right over to you, Dan. He said to me as I'm sitting in there, and we're in a 3-hour conversation, and because you put two guys like us or Dan or Leeroy in a room, and we're whiskey and cigars, you know, are going to be aplenty. And Pastor just simply looked at me and he just said, Matt, and I said, I was talking about Democrats and Republicans, and he just looked right at me. He goes, Matt, there's no difference between Christianity and Republicans and Democrats. They're both religions. Politics is a religion now. And when you say that not Christianity in itself, or not the Muslim religion, or not Orthodox, or not any other type of religion as far as contextually, but it's actually turned into politics is what people eat, breathe, and sleep, and they believe everything that comes out of it, no matter what, without question, because it's an inexplicable faith that they must have in their party to, no matter what it does, it's the right thing. And I'm like, that is probably the most profound thing. When you first hear it, it doesn't go down very well because you're like, Christianity and politics. No, it's the belief in the system is that it takes absolutely incontrovertible faith now to be assigned to a political party and say, I am a Republican, I am a liberal. Because if you say anything that opposes or steps out of the lane on that, you get castigated out by the left and the right. It's insanity. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's spot on. And it's definitely a cultic. What, at least from the leftists, it is their religion for sure. I would say there's some on the right as well. I talk all the time about, man, don't, and Charlie Kirk talked about this all the time too, is, you need to, he did it. He didn't just talk about it. He actually did it. He spoke with people who didn't think like he did, because conversation is important. And I don't have to agree with you at the end of the day, but we should at least be able to have a conversation, something that our Congress is incapable of doing on both sides. Right. And it's irritating as hell, because it's like, can we be adults? Where's the adult in the room? And who's going to move this forward if we can't even have a conversation, because you're so stuck in your ideology now? And the Republicans say, well, this is a fiscal thing. This is about money. This is about, and that's true to some extent. And I believe those things, but at the same time, the moderate left has points. Fetterman is a good example.
Yep.
He's no friend of ours. He's definitely a Democrat. He's never going to switch sides. But he has some common sense. He's like an old school Democrat.
He's a blue dog Democrat.
Sure.
He is a blue dog Democrat.
And when people used to get things done, when Reagan got things done, by the way, he was working with Tip O'Neill. He had an opposing Congress. He still got things done. Bill Clinton did the same thing. The last budget that was passed, it was in 1996 under Bill Clinton, by the way, with a Republican Congress. So they were able to get things done. Since then, there's been 138 continuing resolutions and not a single budget passed by the very body of government whose job it is to pass a budget. And so is that religion in your ideology, or is it just stubbornness? Is it, I mean, I don't know, dude. It is so, it's so, I don't know how you fix this. How do you fix this?
Well, Leeroy has to go because I know he disagrees with what I said. But he's going to misconstrue what I said, like he always does. So go ahead. Yeah, you are.
No, real quick before Leeroy goes.
Yeah.
Go back to TV Green, my chief moderator. I've got like 5 moderators. She's the head of the pack.
Okay.
She says about Marjorie Taylor Greene was perimenopause or something. She completely loses her mind.
She's got something. I got a video that's going to show you, and she's been railing against Trump. Candace Owens been railing against Trump. The one thing that the far right does is that they have moved away from Trump, and they are consistently getting further and further away from Trump, because this has nothing to do with his geopolitics. It has nothing to do with his economy. It has nothing to do with his social platform. It's because he speaks favorably of Israel. And that is the only thing they have a problem with. All right, Leeroy, go ahead and twist what I said.
I don't disagree with you, but I do disagree with your pastor, and I'll tell you why.
Well, you have to tell me what he said first, and you have to put it in context, because this happens often. So tell me what he said.
Right. Well, it sounded like what he was saying was that both the left and the right now have prioritized, to some level, the state over religion.
No.
Is that not?
That's not what he said at all.
Okay.
No, he said that the ideological entrenchment of the left and the right, the 4.5% on the left, the 4.5% on the right, have now turned politics into religion. It is their religion. They don't believe that is their first and foremost thought process. When they wake up in the morning, they're thinking about politics. When they go to bed at night, they're thinking about politics. And they cannot stray outside the prescription of their designated party that they've sworn fealty to. There is no room for any disagreement. The party platform is paramount, and they will not vary from it. And that is TDS on both sides, Trump derangement syndrome, and then the Trump loyalty syndrome, the TDS, that is like Trump can do no wrong.
Okay.
Trump is perfect. That is what we're talking about. There is a new religion in this country, and it is politics first. There are some people who do that. Yes.
I understand that. And maybe that was a little more descriptive than as I was trying to absorb it the first time around. But I would still say that the people who prioritize actual religion, not actually saying, well, Trump is God, that's kind of insane.
That's not what I'm saying.
Well, or that politics needs to prioritize over religion.
That's not what I said
and
either.
So effectively, it has replaced religion in some households, and that's all the people follow is CNN and Fox, and that's their new religion. That's basically what I'm getting out of that.
But that's true.
That is true.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
But I would also say that's not really a religion, though. That's just more like. I think that's more of a.
Let me ask you a question: Is
an
Cabal
infatuation
Cabal a religion? Thomas, first of all, Thomas Austin, 2110, pray for
Thank
the
you,
peace of
Thomas.
Jerusalem. I didn't see the rest of it. I love you, Thomas. I'll read it off. So, is Cabal a religion?
I don't know.
Is Diametics and L. Ron Hubbard
not a real one? No.
No. Wait a second. You can't say that. You don't. Is it a religion? Yes, it's a religion. Of course, it's Scientology a religion.
By that definition, yes.
Okay, so what he's saying is that it's not a religion. We understand politics aren't a religion, but people have turned it into a religious loyalty to it. That it is like there's people who put politics before God, politics before country, politics
Political
before family.
zealots.
Right, political
Yes.
zealots. And but we have seen this because we see this with progressive socialism, that the state is first with everything. It's always about the state. Political parties are very similar to this as well. We saw this with Maoism. You know this. So you can see this throughout history that certain political affiliations repudiate free thought, repudiate religion, and replace it with loyalty to party and the state. There is a very far right element that have done that, and there is a very far left element where that's actually prescribed in everything far left, as you know. My point is that it's not a new God. It's that their fervent passion and absolute loyalty that their party can do no wrong, that Democrats are always right, or that Republicans are always right, and you cannot move them from that. It has a very similar level of faith and investment that people who believe in God have, that Jesus is perfect. God is perfect. The Holy Trinity is perfect. The Immaculate Conception is perfect. And you cannot vary from that. People believe that about their parties too, and it's sick and it's weird. That's my point.
I know
That's what he was saying.
I know what you're saying. My kind of rebuttal to that would just be more so that it's the further left you go on the political spectrum is when people start prioritizing religion over the state. And the right, I know what you're saying, that there is a sect of people that do that. I think that they claim themselves to be on the right side of the political spectrum, but in actuality, they're exhibiting signs that they're actually left, just with right-leaning values. It's
so
weird.
You're saying nuance,
but I do know what you mean.
No, you don't. Nuance is more important than fact, is what you're saying.
For that 4% of people, yeah.
No. Because I listen, Dan, maybe you can help us out here, because maybe I'm not describing this effectively, because for you to say that you have to be a leftist to put the state before the people or before your God is not true. You and I both know that fascism and socialism, progressive socialism, communism are ultimately very, very close together, way more close together than conservative Republicans. But that doesn't mean that there is not people on the right who are absolutely so far from the center that they are doing damage to the prescription of what they claim to be. My point and Dan's point are we get to see every day people who say that Donald Trump is God. We have that he's anointed by God, that he has never made a mistake. He's never lied. He's never done anything wrong. And that is a level of despotism that is religious in nature. And it's terrifying, because when you anoint a political figure at a deity level, you're surrendering your free will, you're surrendering your freedoms. It's just, So this is a whole nother conversation. Dan, what am I missing here? What am I missing here?
Well, hold on 1 second. Maybe I'm not explaining myself correctly, because I understand what you're saying and I agree with you. What I'm saying is that for those people, that is insane. And for those people who actually have turned politics into a religion, that's insane. I'm not saying that those
it's not a
people
real
don't
religion.
exist.
It's not a real religion. It's not a real religion.
I agree with you.
It's a euphemism. Dan, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, people, I think on both sides have gone that route. You know, you need to keep things in perspective. When I talk about God shots and Trump getting elected, Trump turning his head at just the right time so he didn't get the back of it blown off in Butler, PA, things like that. That doesn't mean that I believe that Trump is God or some sort of deity. What I believe is that there is a deity that is in control of circumstances that are happening, and that's entirely different than the ideological zealots that put everything into their religion. And back to the top of the show, near the top of the show, Matt, you mentioned that there was a battle not between red or blue or Republican or Democrat, but between good and evil, and I firmly believe in that. And I don't think it's a stretch to say that. And I think people need to keep this in perspective, man. Take the politics out of it. Is it okay to kill babies in the womb? Is it okay to castrate minors without parental consent, chemically castrate? Is it okay to change your body parts? Is it okay to support somebody's delusion that they're a sex that they were not born with? Are these things, I mean, most people, I think, can say no, that is actually, common sense will tell you that's not okay. Okay, then what party do I identify with the most when it comes to that? And I think that what's amazing when you watch the walk-away stories, when you see the people that are leaving the left and coming to the Democrat, you talked about voter registrations earlier in the show, it is massively toward the Republican and that's not because it's a religion, but because it makes more sense. And that's just kind of to segue that into, let's just couch this into, there's extremism on both sides. I'm not saying there's not. And it definitely, I think, I don't know where MTG falls, man. She falls in her own category all by herself.
She falls into this.
She certainly
does. She's getting some money, man.
I mean, she's getting those Qatari bucks. By the way, can I get some of these Jew bucks, folks? We're at $114.20. I'm a far cry from $7,000. So if Bibi can go ahead and spread the wealth, we want to try to hit that 300. I appreciate the heated exchange, not heated, but just an exchange, Leeroy. I saw you cringe, and when I see you cringe, it usually means that I said it wrong. I just want to put the bow on this.
I don't know that's true, but
what he was saying is that it's almost become where politics have become where you have to demonstrate it's based upon your loyalty and inability to ever be wrong. And if you look back on religion 30 years ago, you didn't question the word of God. And if you did, you got a switch and you got a belt. And it's kind of changed now. Churches have become a lot more open and a lot more honest, and they're allowed questions that we couldn't ask when we were younger. So religion's become more accepting, and it's had to as it's slowly metamorphosized into getting out of the Older Testament and into the Newer Testament. It's become more open and receptive. Politics have become more jaded.
The last pope who had all of a sudden shifted a lot of gears by saying, "Oh, well, if you're gay, well, then certainly the church is going to welcome you in."
Yeah, that's Marjorie Taylor. That's about money. That's about money.
Yeah,
that's really. Oh my God, are you kidding me? 3% of the population identifies as LGBTQ. Well, we better go ahead and accept them so we can get more donations.
Right.
Very different situation. Listen, good conversation. Let's get to MTG. You're going to be on here with my pastor. I want you on here because I want you to listen to him, and he's going to put it 10 times better than I did. And remember, I'm in an infantile stage when it comes to this. I am now in the cradle, and I am learning about religion more. Here is Marjorie Taylor Greene about World War III, that it's going to start. And here we go.
Tell you what, 6 months in, Steve, and here we are turning back on the campaign promises, and we bombed Iran on behalf of Israel. Yes, it was on behalf of Israel. We're entering a nuclear war, the World War III, because the entire world is going to erupt. And you want to know the people that are cheering it on right now? Their tune is going to drastically change the minute we start seeing flag draped coffins on the nightly news, on Fox News that brainwashes all the baby boomers, and on CNN that brainwashes all the Democrat baby boomers. And that is exactly how this is going to go down. And
I just quick thing. I've been passing it to you guys every time. So just I want to make sure.
Perimenopause. I'm going back to TV
Oh
Green.
my God.
Is the Swahili tribe in North Africa, have they decided to go ahead and stretch her head? What is going on, dude? She's like, it looks like gravity is
got, like,
defying her
creatine
skull.
face.
No, but well, that's true. But look at her skull. You could park an aircraft carrier on that thing. Look at this thing. It's going back. I'm wondering. So here's my question. And
She works out a lot. Steroids. I don't know.
I'll tell you what. This is the woman who believes that you can use the nuclear option on a continuing resolution and budget proposal, which is actually,
dude. I know. I'm like, no, that's only
lady,
for certain. You can't do that for appropriations.
It's not even for resolutions. It's only for rules and House rules and Senate rules. So and you can't circumvent the nuclear option. You can't circumvent because this is why Reid's decision to bring in the filibuster was such a bad one. So anyway, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I've been saying it for a long time, from Jewish space lasers to her saying that the drones were an Iranian mothership. We blew that shit out of the water. Everything. She's given me great content. Is this it? Is this the creme de la creme? This is what you are having represent you. Remember the days when we had the tobacco farms or we had a shoemaking business and we sent the smartest guy in the village to Washington to represent us on taxes or land disputes, and then they would come home and you would never go to Washington again. This is the best we've got. Is this dumb bimbo? Yes. Dan?
Yeah, I'm done with her. There were some things when she first came in, she had some, she was the firebrand. She was like her, and Matt Gaetz came in. They all kind of came in at the same time. And it was kind of like this cool little club. And then she went crazy, man. I agree with you. The space lasers, the, baby perimenopause. Stop it. I got some of my chasters in here. Perimenopause. No, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Or maybe it's just drugs or maybe it's steroids. I don't know what's going on with her, but she's definitely off the rails. Again, this is why I mentioned earlier, her and Candace Owens, they could get together. They could have a network. They could maybe get Laura Loomer in to do some reporting for them once in a while. And they would be great together, except that none of them work well with anybody.
Right. They hate everybody. Laura Loomer's now. I'm no longer a Trump fan because we have a peace deal in Israel.
Because she got out of the inner circle. She's no longer on the inside, and it pisses her off.
And she's also pissed off that people know that she's faking being a Jew, which also is a big thing because Milo Yiannopoulos exposed her. And I don't like Milo any more than I like Laura Loomer, but I love that those two were catfighting. Like, if they could just do a celebrity death match, remember the little claymations at MTV? Yes. They would throw them in throw Nick Fuentes and have Laura Loomer literally just have a catfight. And
what's crazy about it is Loomer can be an extremely good investigative reporter.
Oh, yes.
Look at her when she went down to Central America and other things that she's done in her career. She has that ability. Yeah. She just chooses not to do it.
It's like Laura Logan, who also is extremely a great reporter, but also isn't batshit crazy. Go ahead, Leeroy.
Yeah. Well, what was interesting about the Marjorie Taylor Greene piece is that at the very beginning, it's almost like she was insinuating that Donald Trump has gone back on a few of the things that he promised that he said that he was going to do, or that he wasn't doing things altogether.
Right.
And not 5 days ago, I watched a CNN poll that was quoting a CBS poll that suggested when they pitched the questions to the crowd, the question was, is Trump doing what he promised? And 52% of the people said yes.
Yeah.
And only 48% said no. So even by that, you're like listening to Marjorie Taylor Greene going, are you watching the polls? Because you're plainly talking out of your butt right now. Like, that does not make sense.
You know what's great about that poll is that if I was to interview those people, I'd say,
got a bad visual, dude.
What was your visual?
Marjorie talking out of her butt. Jeez.
Well, let's just not. I would love to ask those people in that poll the simple question, though, is what parts of Project 2025 has Trump instilled versus Agenda 47? I went through Agenda 47. I started checking the boxes. He's pretty much just ticking the list. Project 2025, there's like 4 or 5 things that are cross-referenced. And I'm just like, so much for Project 2025, you jackholes. This is a good video. This one's interesting. It's Bill Maher. And you guys, I've been consuming Bill Maher since I was a kid. And he's just one of those people that I can't write off completely because occasionally he's just, listen, he created the original debate on TV. He really did. And Politically Incorrect was it was basically a looking glass into the future of where we are today. And I got
another old school Democrat.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, but always fiscally conservative. He's a moderate. Yes. He is very much a Reagan Republican, but liberally not when it comes to social issues. Is that he's very, very liberal, but so am I when it comes to social issues. I think what you do in your bedroom is your damn business. Just leave it out of my kid's school. But here is a video that I thought was outstanding, and it shows the character of at least a little bit of Bill Maher. And then I want you guys to watch this. This is pretty good. Tell me what you think.
What I see is what did he sign there?
This is when I went to the White House. These are all the horrible things he's called me over the years.
Did you give him that and he signed it for you?
Correct.
Oh, that's fucking brilliant.
I know. It's my prized possession.
What a signature. That's one of the best signatures.
Stupid, angry, dopey, dummy, trouble. What's that one? Terrible student, not considered smart, no mojo.
Terrible
nervous.
student? How did he know that?
He doesn't know any of this. This is what's so amazing, that he, off the top of his head, could come up with 56 different.
I'm impressed.
Dummy. So-called comedian, not a smart guy, better than Sominex, fired like a dog. Dumbass, not an intellectual,
Better than
terrible
Sominex.
show. Moron, stupid guy, bad ratings.
Okay, now you're just gloating. Now you're
it's
that's hip.
It's hip, and it's also just like says something about the human mind or some human minds. Like, I couldn't come up with this many names.
Oh, yes,
if you gave me a day, I mean, if I had a day,
yeah.
If I had a day.
And a thesaurus.
And a thesaurus. Exactly.
So if you guys don't know, Bill Maher and Donald Trump sued each other, right? So Bill
It's
Maher
a great signature. It's the best signature ever.
Right.
Best.
And it is too. It might look like a Geiger counter or a seismic activity, but it's interesting to say the least. They sued each other, and Bill Maher said something about Donald Trump's mother being an orange orangutan, and Donald Trump sued him, and then Bill Maher countersued, and then they had this big territorial pissing, and then he went to dinner with Donald Trump, and ever since he's still hard on Trump, but he recognizes Trump's brilliance. And the thing about Trump, and I will say this, and then I'm gonna open it up to you two to tell me whatever the hell you want about it and what your take is that he is, you guys remember that thing, the flux capacitor, and then you remember the plutonium that Doc put into the Back to the Future DeLorean, and he had that, and he had to put in that,
1.21 gigawatts.
Right, generate 1.21 gigawatts of power from a certain amount of plutonium. And then when he came back from the future, he had a food processor 3000. He was able to put banana peels and garbage and soda cans and close it, and then get the 1.21 gigawatts required power from this amazing invention. Donald Trump is the food processor 3000. Whatever you put into him, he's going to create that and give it right back to you. And if you're a complete dick, he is going to throw it right back in your face. And if you are kind and respectful, he'll do the same. He is the quintessential garbage in, garbage out type guy.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts? Dan, you go first. Okay. Leeroy, follow up.
Which is exactly why he signed that. Bill Maher showed that to him, and he's like, yeah, I'll sign that. Because he owned it. That's what he does. He owns every single thing that someone throws in his face. It doesn't bother him at all. It's Teflon Don. It just keeps going and going and going. And by the way, in that same interview, that same show, Bill Maher, he went on to praise Trump about how, I don't know if you have that clip, maybe I'm blowing a later segue, but he went on to say, look, you can't deny when people do great things, they do great things. And Donald Trump has done a great thing. And this is in regards to the Israel Hamas deal. And it's just, but to Trump, you can't out Trump. You just can't. Everybody tries. They've been smearing him for 10 plus years. It doesn't matter. Why? Because he's honest. He's real. He's authentic. He doesn't have a hidden agenda, at least that you can tell. And and people dig that. I think that everyday Americans are starting to get that. And when you move the mainstream media out of the way and the more exposure that Trump gets, even from liberals, Bill Maher, Stephen A. Smith, different people that are Democrats, but are still talking, hey, well, this guy is actually having good results. You can't deny that. These are people with huge audiences. And I think it's making a difference in the midterms. We're talking a little over a year away, man, about 13 months right now, a little less than 13 months. And I hope they continue doing the insanity that they're doing, because we're going to destroy them.
Yeah, it's their fundraising is saying that they're in deep shit. I'll be surprised if the DNC doesn't have to file for bankruptcy if it keeps up. Their earnings reports are atrocious. Leeroy, it's funny. I showed that video on the other night's show that you mentioned about the great thing. So we're not going to play that, but I do have one that talks specifically about what you just said, which we'll play after Leeroy's take on that Bill Maher video. Go ahead. Well, and then we're going to wrap it up and say goodbye.
Don't say goodbye. We're not going to stay here all night.
I don't mind, but we got to get Leeroy off because he's a busy man. But go ahead, Leeroy.
Oh yeah, I am. When you compare Bill Maher to Donald Trump, I mean, certainly they're going to have some common ground. They were both on TV shows that were comedian based, and whatever their policies are, Matt and I are not dissimilar, right? We've always kind of considered ourselves to be socially liberal but fiscally conservative, and you have to imagine that between Bill Maher and Donald Trump, that they have a lot of that a lot of that same connective tissue. Mm-hmm. So they're going to see more eye to eye on things. It's just that their personalities get in the way of each other. And to Matt's point, I have always seen, and I've made this comparison publicly, that Donald Trump is like an amplifying mirror. He's like when you go to the fun house, right? And you have that mirror that accentuates what you are. And that's exactly what Don does. To Matt's exact point. If you are nice to him, he will find nice things to say about you. He may not even know you. But if you come up with like just a couple of dick headlines, or if you're highly critical of him, he's going to give it back, New York style. Yeah. And that's part of his charm.
Yeah. Hemdahl says Donald Trump is a liberal. No, not by today's classification. 1990s, Blue Dog Democrat, or Reagan Republican? Yes. Reagan Democrat? Sure. Yeah, but he's not a liberal in any way, shape, or form. And you can't tell me any policies that even demonstrate even a modicum of that statement being correct. No. You can try. No. You're just gonna get washed. Dan?
What are we talking about?
Nothing. We're going to show this video, and I forgot. I just kicked it over to you, Dan. He's not the best color commentary guy in the business, folks.
No, I'm great, man. I can do it.
No. Talk about. Think it on your feet. Here's exactly what we're talking about with Trump. Then we're going to go ahead and do the rounds. I'm going to be on a little bit overtime because I've got a cleanup goal. Whenever we have these great interviews, people forget to donate, and I got to do some work because we got to pay for the show. Here is CNN trying to figure out Trump's ability to communicate and their inability to convey a message to America.
Another comment the president made on his way to Israel aboard Air Force One. He was asked if the ceasefire deal will help him get into heaven, which is, I got to say, I've been in the press pool. It is a unique question to ask a president of the United States. However, his response was also unique. Take a listen.
I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven.
Look, as somebody else who may have a hard time with this same topic, I would just say that it's really interesting when you hear him say this because it makes him a regular guy.
It definitely
Democrat,
does.
It really makes me upset because folks flip it, making, what do you say, lie to yourself. I do that a lot. Other folks, he's just been a regular person going, look, I've made a lot of mistakes. Y'all have all covered me and pulled out everything I've ever done in my life. So maybe I'm not going to have a straight shot all the way to heaven. It makes him really, really like a regular folks. And as a Democrat, it makes me hate it.
I think Chuck is 100% correct. I mean, like my grandfather used to say, when people say, I'm a Christian, he said, wow, you've already accomplished it. It's a lifelong journey. We're all imperfect. The president recognized that. And to Chuck's point, for regular people, they say, hell, I don't know if I'm going to get to heaven, but I'm certainly trying every single day. It's relatable. It's why people like him.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, when you read it versus when you listen to him say it, which is this is an important
the body
component
language
of covering this president is.
All right, I don't care about the rest, but I am going to
Yes,
show.
so this-
let me show this real quick. It's going to help. It's just going to assist, and then I'm giving it to you guys. I apologize, but here is just. They completely avoided the meat and context, and I know what Dan's going to do. He's going to come in here and he's going to crush this, and so is Leeroy. I'm just going to show you this quick response video this morning. It literally takes 1 minute. Here it is. Maybe. Yes.
You talked about how you hope to end the war in Ukraine because it might help you get into heaven. How does this help? Does this help?
I mean, I'm being a little cute. I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I really don't. I think
Fisher.
I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven.
You mean the same insane theological explanation that forgives murderers, liars, and thieves, but draws the line at a man admitting he's flawed is the problem. By the way, I'm wearing this shirt on purpose. The irony here is that leftists mock Christians for pretending to be perfect and then mock them again when they admit they aren't. Maybe it's not theology you're struggling to understand. Maybe it's grace. By the way, happy birthday, Charlie.
Drop it hard.
Yeah.
All right. So topics.
Totally, man.
Get it, Dan.
You just you lean into it, man, and that's what I love about Trump. Is he leans into it. You can ask him whatever it is, and he's like he can make fun of it. He can make light of it. Whatever the situation calls for, he has it. He has the it factor. He has the instinct. He's able to turn something that might be an awkward moment into something that's actually kind of unique and cool. And not everybody has that ability. It's super cool. And one of the things I love about what Trump has brought is that it is has taught a lot of conservatives, a lot of America First and MAGA people that, hey, it's okay to do that. It's okay to lean into the insult. It's okay to lean into the stereotype and then flip it back. It's beautiful. It's marvelous. He's a professional at it. I love every minute of it.
That's great. Leeroy, bring us home and then take your minute and then goes to Dan for his minute, and then we'll cut people loose. Hey, Mel Lowe, thank you for your donation, $103. Also, that's bringing us a little closer. We are 100. We are 82, 72. I don't know, 30, 20, $82 away. Would help if we can hit that. And then also thank you, Fisher, for your donation too.
Remedial math for you.
$81.32.
Yeah. What's that?
$81.32.
Yeah. So anyway, it's not like I don't do that 100 times a show, but thank you for being my brain tonight because it's fried. Leeroy, go for it.
What's funny is that the media has done this ever since 2016, is that they try to take every word that the man says literally.
Yes, good point.
And
good
that
point.
is the absolute,
So
that is Don shining the spotlight on the goofiness that is mainstream media. And not only did he flip it back to them, just like you pointed out, but it also humanized him, right? That puts him in a very relatable situation for whoever the person is watching on the other side of the TV going, all right, well, that's kind of good, So I liked it. I
Yeah.
like him.
He's good. It's an honest
even the
answer.
Democrats on the panel there on the CNN, was that CNN? I think that clip was from. Even the panel was like, yeah, hey, good for him. That's why people like him, is because he's relatable. And that was a great transition from the last segment too.
Yeah. Well, once again, the show's never planned. It flows that way.
It just happens. That's cool.
It flows that way. And we get some things we want to talk about, and somehow they all connect in the end. Everybody gets a minute on this show at the end, and I'm going to take mine real quick. And I just wanted to say that Dan, I really appreciate you being on, man. And it just makes me really happy that we've come full circle. And, to see people who've come on this show lately who've just been, would considered to be huge, it's really neat. And Scott Pressler's coming on now, and we're finally getting there, and you're getting there, and we've done some great things. But to see you come back, it meant a lot to me. And 5 years we've been trying to figure this out, and was a great night, and I really appreciate you, man. I love your style. I love your presentation. I love your energy. So I wanted to say thank you for being here tonight, and we really enjoyed it. I know all the fans did too. You're going to get a lot of followers tonight. Leeroy, you get a minute, and then Dan, you get to wrap up and say whatever you want and where people can follow you and all that.
Well, first of all, just a very good to meet you. It's been so awesome to share the screen with you, Dan. I did mention at the beginning of the show, I started listening to one of your shows, and now I'm going to go and look up you said it was like 650 plus. So I may have to figure out which one of those headlines are going to be the ones that I, tune in on. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be listening to more of your content. Awesome show. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everyone who donated tonight. Thank you so much, guys. You have no idea what it means to us. It is literally what keeps the lights on and the cameras rolling. Without you, none of this could happen. And beyond that, thanks, Matt, for allowing me to be here.
Yeah, and the nunchucks, I got it. I'll make sure I properly call you guys nunchucks. We have the dummies, and which stands for the Don't Unfriend Me's, and everyone's got their nicknames. So Dumb Nation, and plus we've been called deplorables and Nazis and everything else. It just shows that we've got some bulletproof skin.
Yeah.
Dan, the show is yours, man. Take as much time as you need.
Yeah, deplorable Nazis, man. I love it, man. Hey, thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun. I knew it would be. I've watched your show before, enough of it to go that, yeah, this is work. This is going to fit. This is going to be just fine. And I love it. I mean, I would just say, so much happens so quickly. It's really easy to get lost in the minutia, and let's just keep focused on the prize. I think today being Charlie Kirk's birthday, and in fact the day of remembrance, as Trump signed into as a national holiday every year on October 14th, is to remember his mission, which is God, family, and country in that order, and to keep that focus, to keep that belief, and keep speaking truth. Look, you might think, well, who am I? I'm nobody. No, you know people. All right. You know people in your circle, people on your email list, on your friends list, in your social media circle that you can convince, not the people who come at you as trolls, fuck you, you Nazi, as Matt was saying, but the people who are debatable, and they might not come over to your side, but I would just say, don't turn away a conversation with somebody you can have a debate with, because Charlie Kirk would not. He gave the microphone to people who disagreed with him vehemently. And then he argued it from conviction, from faith, from a knowledge of facts and truth. And we can do the same thing. That's why it's important. By the way, you're here watching shows like this. You are far away and above the vast majority of people, because you're seeking out information. You're not just sitting on the couch and letting it absorb into you like a sponge. That's what the leftists do. You're out here seeking out information. And so take that. Watch this show. Watch my show. The Nunn Report is on at 4 Eastern time, weekdays on Rumble every single day. All right. And at the Nunn Report, you can find me, no problem. Whether it's this show, huge shows like, I don't know, Steve Bannon or Crowder or Dan Bongino when he was on. I mean, but from small to large, you're going to gain a little bit out of all of them. And then put that into your knowledge base. Go out there into the field and fight the battle. Because the war is not won by a long stretch. And so anyway, I want to thank you guys for having me on, and I appreciate you. I hope to come back at some point in time.
Anytime.
Again, Nunn Report is on weekdays at 4 Eastern time, exclusively right here on Rumble. If you're watching on Rumble, I know this is broadcast everywhere. I'm on Rumble, so go ahead and find me there.
Clip out some stuff. We got to do that too, and we got to get that shared on Facebook. It will absolutely make a difference, and we'll start sharing some stuff from you too, because we'll start cross pollinating. Damani Felder and I do that. Yeah, Bobby absolutely. Richardson donated $31.40. Love the show tonight. We love you too, folks. We are $50 or $48.92. How's that, Leeroy? So thank you so much, everybody. Hey, Dan, we love you. We appreciate you, and Leeroy, we appreciate you. I'm going to stay on for overtime. We'll see you guys later. Go follow Dan Nunn, the Nunn Report, over on Rumble. He's amazing, and follow him on Facebook. Thanks, brother. Good conversation. See ya.
Peace out, homies. Love you guys.
Love you too, man. Thank you. All right. Great conversation. Dan, thank you so much for being here. We're going to make sure Z4FM58 sounds like some motor oil. Or $5. Good show, guys. Thank you. We appreciate it, Z4. Listen, just a good guy. Someone who, like I said, I watched when I first started, and I was like, all right, if I can get to that level, if I can get a show that looks like that and is produced to that quality, we'll be doing okay. It felt really good to do so. We are $45, $44.92 away. Good conversation. We are working on Scott Pressler. I mentioned that the other night. Olivia reached out to him today. He is a busy guy, but we're going to try to get him on the show. I've got to get a follow-up for Laura Loomer as well and get her on the show. And then, of course, our regular staples we need to do a round. We are going to be in Arlington. If anyone is going to be in Arlington, I believe on the 14th or 15th, and it is Barry Morgenstein's. Himdale, shut up. Call it here. You know what? I need a troll. Call in the show. Fake conservatives. What does that mean? What does that mean, fake conservatives? What do you even tell me the defining factors of a conservative? Because you just said to conserve what? What is a conservative's ultimate job, and what does a conservative mean in the sense of the word? Please explain it to me. Just educate us what you think a conservative is, because if it's anything other than to reduce the size of the government, you're completely full of shit and you don't know what you're talking about. And if you take a look at Donald Trump, you may have noticed that there are some things that are taking place, including reducing the size of the government. Now, is this all going to happen in one night? No. But for you to sit here and say that the opposite of conservatism is increasing the size of government, well, there's only one group that wants to do that. Now, if you're going to talk about neoconservatives, if you're going to talk about lifelong Republicans from the Zealot Party of 2014 and the replants from the Tea Party, I agree with you. Those people aren't conservatives. But there is a cultural shift. If you look at Ronald Reagan, he wasn't a conservative. Ronald Reagan was, ranked number 3 as the all-time highest spending presidents ever. He expanded the government. He expanded into conflicts. He had secret wars with Russia. He inflated our budget. What are you talking about? So I don't think traditional values. What does that mean? These are buzzwords. Christian values. These are buzzwords. European values. European values are Brexit, the EU Union, NATO, and now allowing illegals to come into the country and completely repopulate the area. Those are your European values, or do you mean Christian Judeo-ethics? Or Judeo-Christian ethics? Do you mean white Anglo-Saxon Protestant like Zeke Heil? What are you talking about, man? So you can just sit here and espouse and spit out all this shit, but honestly, it doesn't help anything because you're not saying anything. The United States is Western European civilization. No shit. And you think that liberals want to do that? Is that what you're saying? Do you think that Republicans want to abandon Western civilization? Well, let me ask you a question. Then why are they defending Israel, which is the only place in the Middle East that actually supports Western civilization? It's one of the most homogenous countries in the world. They're overall accepting for all religions. What are you talking about? Europe is going to fall. The last bastion for Western civilization is in this country, and there's only one party that wants to tear it apart. Who are you calling a fake conservative, man? Jews created liberalism? Oh, God, you're a fucking Qer. Forget it. Go listen to Nick Fuentes. Classic liberalism, you fucking moron, was not created by the Jews. Do you even understand that conservatism and liberalism were founded out of the same platform of classic liberalism? What are you talking about? They spit on Christians. How many times have you been to Israel? You saw some videos of people spitting on Christians. You don't think that they go ahead and hurt Jews here? You don't think people treat Christians like shit? They just killed one of the biggest Christians in the United States with Charlie Kirk. Are we going to go ahead and blame that on whatever religious group that he associated, or possibly some European lineage that he has in his bloodline? You know, blame them too? People do stupid things. There's bad people in all cultures, but they don't spit on Christians. I'm a Christian. I was never spit on. They have Jews. They have Gentiles. They have Greek Orthodox. They have Roman Catholics. They have Muslims in their hierarchy and in their businesses. They're accepting of all race, colors, and creeds in Israel. You're fucking lying. You don't even know what you're talking about. You've never even been there. You saw some videos on YouTube and you think that's everywhere. You're an idiot. You're a fucking idiot. And I already know who you are. So goodbye. You're such a putz. You're such a pussy because you never call in. Balls, you never call in because you're a fucking coward. What a pussy. All right, folks. Well, we've got that done. Oh. By the way, in the Talmud, it does not say Jesus Christ is burning in a lake of excrement. That's your interpretation, but you've never read it. So what you do is you take passages and you go ahead and you take certain things. And by the way, when you look at Jews, Take a look at the Old Testament. How many things in the Old Testament do you not leave? Oh, well, once the Jews fulfilled the prophecy, the Old Testament doesn't matter anymore. Isn't that convenient? Every religion has certain despots and certain writings that are absolutely abhorrent to today's standards. But that's like going back and saying and condemning Jefferson or Washington or Lincoln because at some point they owned slaves and not talking about the good that they've done. Yes, you can go ahead and castigate certain things that the Jewish religion believes. And of course, I would expect you to do so, but you don't throw out the entire religion as well, because the things that Israel has done that have actually moved forward the Middle East into a place of stability, at least the most stability that we've seen in 3,000 years. Maybe, just maybe, you can go ahead and give some credit where credit's due, but you won't, because you believe that the Jews were responsible for the Bolshevik Revolution. The Jews were responsible for the USS Liberty. You believe that the Palestinians are related to the Philistines, which they are not in any way, shape, or form, which were probably more Greek and European that you love so much. You don't even recognize that in 1830 they were casted out by the Ottoman Empire, but still 9% of Jews remained in what was considered to be Israel still, and they reclaimed their land. That's like the Native Americans. If they would have risen up before we put yellow fever on blankets and wiped out most of their younger population, maybe, just maybe, they would have risen up and expelled the United States, which was England at the time, and then taken over their country. Would you say that they are being populist too, that they're an empire? No, you would say they reclaimed their land. So did the Jews. But this is what you guys always do. Jews. Everything you see is Jews. And what's hilarious is that it's in your head so much. There's so, like, everything that's wrong, everything, it doesn't matter what it is, it's always the Jews. Charlie Kirk, Israel. USS Liberty, you don't know a thing about it. Oh yeah, it was 100%, it was an attack on the United States. How stupid. It propagated us into conflict with Egypt and Jordan. No, it didn't. They stole our nuclear secrets. If you guys knew anything outside what you get fed by Nick Fuentes, it would be shocking. Everything's about the Jews. It's all the Jews. Maybe, as you claim that you guys are Christians or claim that you're Catholics, maybe what it really is that you admonish the Jews. And Jesus talked about the Jews. And we know that the Jews repudiate Christ. We understand that, but they're also, and in the prophetic terms, is that they will come back to Jesus one day. Jews and Christians. What are you going to do when your brother and sister sit beside you and they consider Jesus Christ their Savior? Are you going to welcome them back after you've insulted them and slandered them and associated them with demons and everything else that you've done because of your own stupid fucking jealousy? Is that what you're going to do? We'll see. We'll see. Folks, let's get Olivia. Olivia! Sorry for the cussing, but I just can't stand these stupid people anymore. I just can't stand them. So tired of it. Where are we at, honey? Come on over on the mic and come tell them what to do. You can run around that way. We need some help. I've been up here and I'm sweating my ass off and I'm working my butt off. There she goes. Olivia's going to tell everyone how to donate because we want to try to hit our number. And what's really hard is having guests on, folks, because we forget to donate. So let's get it going. What are you doing putting on the mic? Okay, you ready? Go ahead.
Yeah, so what are we at, 255? So we're $45 away. You just need to go to thedumshow.com/donate. And you can put a fun little message that I'll put in there when I put it up. And we would greatly appreciate it.
Wow, that was really good. See,
I try.
So how did you think Dan, the interview?
I thought he was awesome. I want him to come back when I'm on.
He's fun, right? Well, you could have been on, but you chose not to.
No, it's Tuesday. It's my night off. And I'm not going to kick Leeroy off on his regular night, so I'm on.
We should have kicked Leeroy off. Just get him out of here.
Because having 3 people and a guest, it's just not going to fly.
It doesn't work.
So, and to be honest, I claim Pastor Jack. He's not going to be here when Pastor Jack's here.
Oh, yeah. No.
Because you asked him to be.
Tom Shin says, not really a question. Just wanted to thank you for another great show. I enjoyed your guest and learned a little. I didn't make any comments because I was repairing an antique sewing machine. I actually got it to work. Well, that's great. Somebody wants to see Olivia smile.
That would be Kevin, and he tells me that every night. So
Okay.
I'm not coming on camera. Sorry.
Well, folks, I would love to bring Dan back sometime, and we love guests, but we got to figure out that donation thing, because it really, I mean, we've hit goal every night for the last, how many months? Lots, 5 months, whatever. But it's hard when we have guests because people, they get sucked into the show. So tonight we missed it, and that's okay. It is what it is. I can't stay on any longer. I got to have some semblance of life. So we'll be back tomorrow. It'll be Olivia and I at 7 o'clock, and we'll be on. We absolutely wanted to thank Dan. It was a wonderful night. Leeroy, as always, did a great job, and put up the QR codes. Okay. Do people hate going to the website? Is that it? There it is. Venmo and PayPal are up, and there it is. I'm not stalling. I just feel like we're incomplete at this point because it's been so long since this has happened. I just want to say one more thing. I think it's really important. If you want to have a conversation, no, you know what? I can understand that people are upset at certain religions and certain races, but I'll tell you what, there's one thing that I've learned in my travels is that there isn't a race of people or a religious group of people that I haven't been able to find value in. And I always find it interesting that people talk shit about countries they've never been to. And they pretend that from a 30-second video, they can understand what it's like. You can't tell me what it's like in Damascus. You have no idea what it's like at the Sistine Chapel. You've never seen the Nile. You've never been to a Buddhist temple. You've never actually conversed with a Shaolin monk. You've never seen what the ice looks like pushing up against Russia's northern border, going into Petropavlovsk or Vladivostok or Severomorsk. You don't know what it's like to track a sub coming out of Polyarny Inlet. You don't know what it's like to go around the Cape. You don't know what it feels like to go over the equator. You have no idea what iridescent algae is and what it looks like when you're behind an aircraft carrier. You've never seen what it looks like jumping out of a plane at an altitude where you need oxygen, and I don't expect you to. But for you to take an entire group of people just because you were too much of a coward to do it before this war started, because none of you were saying this shit before October 7th. You made your entire living off of doing it after a group of people came in and murdered Jews. Chuck Peterson donated $55. Great show. Thank you, Chucky. And you didn't have the conviction and courage to do it before then because you didn't have permission. All of you who do that, all of you that espouse and degrade Jews or degrade Muslims or degrade Christians or Catholics or Orthodox or blacks or gays or whatever it is you do it because you feel empowered to do it and you were too much of a coward to do it before. Because I dare you to show me those things that you said before October 7th, and none of you did. And it always baffles me that I can show you video of Tucker Carlson praising Jews before October 7th and Candace Owen praising Jews before October 7th and Stuart Peters not talking shit about Jews before October 7th and Nick Fuentes focusing on black people before October 7th. But once this happened, then they started taking after Jews. Actually, Afghanistan's a beautiful country. Completely missing out. There's beautiful, beautiful spots in Afghanistan. So once again, that's a perfect example of somebody who's never been and assuming that everything is rice and lamb heads and stucco, because it's not. That's it's just ignorance. And it's ignorance. Are there bad spots in Iraq? Is there bad spots in Saudi Arabia? Are there bad spots in the United States? I'll tell you what, I would rather go into places in Afghanistan than I would go into Detroit or go into Watts or go into Chicago. You know what I mean? When it comes to the Muslim and Quran, I disagree 1,000%. Yeah, but that doesn't mean there's not good Muslims. See, and that's the problem. Because how many Muslims do you know? None. There you go. Thanks, Mike. What do you mean you're not welcome? What do you mean you're not welcome in Afghanistan? What does that mean? It's not true. It's not true at all. What are you talking about? What, Fisher, what do you mean you're not welcome in Afghanistan? There's certain spots you don't want to go in Afghanistan. That's fine. You don't want to go to northern and southern for sure. What do you mean? Do you think we're not accepted in Turkey? I've been to Turkey. Turkey's great. You think Nepal we're not accepted in? Morocco, Spain. Morocco and Spain are extremely violent. A lot of Muslims there. A lot of hate towards Christians there. It's fine. Good times. You think it was okay to go to South Korea? Did that? That was good. Malaysia, Sumatra. You think the Lemnos Isle and outside of Greece and Crete, you think those are good spots when civil war is going on in Greece? Who cares? Because yes, there's problems in all countries, but there's also beauty in every country. And most of it is a lot prettier than the ugly parts. Of course, you know, I saw some people who had to pay federales in Tijuana. Does that mean? I know some people that couldn't get through the southern routes on the highways who were black, and that was 25 years ago, and had to pay local sheriffs. And that was in the United States. I know, I've seen videos too. Of course, there's areas you don't want to go to, so you don't go into those areas. But I will tell you, some of the nicest and kindest people I've ever met in my life were Afghanis. And if you ask most of the veterans who were over there, they don't like the Taliban. They're not Kurd and Sunni fans, the Shias. They don't love the resistance groups any more than they love the terrorist groups. But if you ask the NGOs that were over there, there was a lot of good people over there. I don't know, man. Aiden Snodgrass. Oh, I know who you are. Bye, Aiden. I'm a conservative. No, you're not. Balls. I know every account you make now, dude. It's not that hard. I know their culture. They want to kill you. Not all of them. What are you talking about? Matt, what do you mean? All Muslims want to kill you, huh? I have a very good friend across the street who's Muslim. He doesn't want to kill me. What are you talking about? For a fact. I know their culture. I know they want to kill you. I know that at one time in Minnesota, the big chief Muslims come in and told them to be nice and will follow. I know that for a fact in research. So one group of people in Minnesota who are Somalian Muslims, which is a very radicalized country, did some things once, so therefore all Muslims are bad. Come on. Come on. Geez, what have we become when every human isn't unique in their own properties and value? What happened to judging people by their character versus their religion or who they are? I've been to Egypt, Israel, Spain, France, Pompeii, never Afghanistan or Iran, etc. Yeah, well, Iran's a little different. And Afghanistan over the last 20 years is kind of a challenge. I agree with you. Those are not the best of places to be over the last 20 years. And Iraq wasn't any picnic either. Plus, was on a tight group with other archaeologists, geologists, and paleontologists. Yeah. It's almost anachronistic. You're an American first guy assuming promoting foreign nations. How did I promote a foreign nation? Please tell me how I promoted it. Tell me how I promoted a foreign nation over my own country. Please tell me. Why? Because I don't hate people just because of their religious beliefs. I don't hate people because of the color of their skin. I think your comments are ethnocentric and theological based of discrimination of the things that are different than you and you don't like because you don't understand them. There's my opinion. I never said anything about promoting countries. What I said was that there's beauty in all countries. There's no inherently evil country on the planet. Even Iran. Hell, Iran in 1975 was Americanized, and it was one of the only places where Western civilization existed. Even more so than Israel. Even more so than Saudi Arabia and Bahrain. Iran at one point was extremely Americanized. Go look at it. Go look up the history. And then England got involved. See, this is my issue with being brought up under 9/11 hysteria. I was brought up being told they effing hate us. Well, there's a lot that do. There's a lot of Muslims who absolutely despise Americans, but there's also how many billions on the planet? 2? 2 billion on the planet? Pakistan and Afghanistan are exchanging fire. Now go figure. Well, that's Pakistan. Muslims that live by the Quran, their religion, want to kill you. I didn't say almost. You just said that. You just said Muslims that live by the Quran, their religion, want to kill you. That's not true. You just said that, Matt. And if they're living by the Quran, they don't like you. They don't like the Jews. They want to take over. And you can look around the United States and see it. Omar, maybe you do live in the wrong state. You have a bunch of Somalians in there who are radicalized and were repopulated there by Obama. And a lot of those people were pretty bad human beings. But that's not all Muslims. There are radical groups in all religions. I don't hate Muslims, but I don't trust Islam, and I don't think it is compatible with the West. I think a lot of practices in Islam are compatible with the West, but I also think a lot of Christianity and Catholicism isn't compatible with Islam either. They're both antithetical to each other in a lot of ways, and that's most religion, right? If so, we wouldn't have, how many different religions? 200 and some odd? God, there's even more than that. I would probably not welcome in England. I go off, England. You are literally promoting foreign nations, which I support, actually. No, I'm not. I'm not supporting a foreign nation at all. I'm asking you to travel and educate yourself and get to know people before you judge them based upon the actions of a few. That's all I said. I'm not promoting other nations. I actually agree with you. Well, you may have agreed with me, but I'm not promoting. I am America first, 120%. I want everything for my country. But remember this, helping other countries is still American first. It's still America first. I'm not an isolationist. I'm not a globalist. I'm a populist, I guess. I don't believe in globalism. I don't believe in the New World Order. I don't believe in one world currency. And I don't believe all nations should get along and love each other in peace and harmony. I believe that America should lead this country or this world when it comes to Western civilization as the way to have insufferable peace spread throughout the world. I believe that. But also inherently, there's some issues with our systems too. I think we can agree with that. Capitalism isn't perfect. It's the best system out there. But 51% of the people will be successful. And the other 49% of the people have to suffer. That's still better than any other system out there. Every other system out there maybe protects 3%, and the other 97% are left by the wayside. You can say that in India, Pakistan, Afghanistan. You can say it in Nepal. You can say it in Malaysia, Sumatra. You can say it in Kuala Lumpur, that the rich have everything. You say it in China. Yeah, you can say it in Mogadishu. You can say it in Syria. You can say it in most Middle Eastern countries that the haves are the haves and the have-nots are most. So I agree with everything you're saying when it comes to America first. But there are situations around the world that is in the best interest for America to ensure don't escalate past a certain point. And we learned this with World War II. Hi, caller, where are you from?
Hi.
Hi, who are we talking to?
This is Loretta.
Loretta, what's going on, sister?
Oh, nothing. I was just sitting here watching the podcast.
Yeah,
enjoying everything that everybody's saying and doing, and I just
hold on one second, Loretta. Lupo, I'm not offended, buddy, and this is your house. You're here too. I'm just going to disagree with you. That's all. And we might not be seeing eye to eye because we're texting and we're not talking on the phone. I don't take offense to anything you said. I'm not even remotely tiffed. I just fervently don't want to be misrepresented. And I don't think that all people are bad simply because they're a part of a religion. I don't think all homosexuals are evil. I don't think that all all transgender people want to sexualize your kids. I'm against the ones that do. I'm against the Muslims who want to hurt Americans. I'm against the Americans who want to hurt people for no reason. I am sick and tired of death and war and shit that honestly, we need to evolve. And if we don't evolve, we're all going to die. We're all going to die. This whole world is just going to go away. And this experiment is going to end. And I don't want it to end. I want to see my daughter. I want to walk her down the aisle. I want to see her baby. I want to see my son fall in love. I want to see my son graduate from whatever he decides to do in life. And if we don't stop learning, if we don't learn how to stop killing each other, it's all going to be a moot point. So call me a hippie now, but I've seen the world, and I am here to tell you that it is beautiful. And there are a lot of scars, but it is a beautiful place. And I can say I've seen most of it. So I can say those things. But I think people who condemn Jews just because they're Jewish are just ignorant, and they hate anything that they don't understand. Loretta, what do you want to talk about?
Oh, are you, I don't want to interrupt your train of thought there.
No, my train of thought's always boarding at the station and going on 17 different ways. So it's nice to have you on. Go ahead. You're not interrupting me. I want to talk to you. What's going on?
Okay. I agree with you there. What you just said while I was waiting. It's we should look at people for who they are.
Right.
And not just judge them, but kind of, I mean, I grew up here in the hills, and we, I don't know how to say this, but we were isolated.
Yeah. And yeah, against everything, cultures and any other outside religions, and probably strangers too, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was in beauty school.
Mm-hmm.
And before, I was ever talked to a black person.
Yeah. How old were you then?
20.
20 years old before you talked to a black person?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up very, very poor.
Yeah. You've told me.
But we were proud people. Yeah, I'm getting all emotional.
So when you saw your first black person, what was it like? I mean, since it was 20, you had to have,
It was awful.
Yeah. So tell me why.
I was in beauty school, and we had to get so many hours of training in our junior year before we were allowed to go out on the floor and work with people.
Right.
And we went on a point system. So if you did a perm, you got so many points for doing that perm because it took so many hours.
Right.
And then and with how hard it was to do, like whether it was an eyebrow arch or a manicure or a perm or a hair color, they went by points, and your name went on the list, and if you did one of these services, you got the points for that service. And then the next person that was up with the least amount of points had to take the next patron that came through the doors. And this was a very low cost to the patron that came in the door. you could get your hair done a lot cheaper than going to a regular salon.
Right. I grew up when I went to college at Eastern Wyoming College for the 2 years that I did. We had a beautician school there, and we'd all go in, and they would do your hair for dirt on the cheap. But you always got different results, and sometimes they weren't great. So I know what you're talking about.
But it was a learning experience for us.
Right.
So one day, I was up on the next customer that came in. It happened to be a black lady.
Mm-hmm.
And not just a black lady. She was the mother of a Cincinnati football player.
Oh. It wasn't Icky Wood's mom, was it?
Oh, no.
No. Okay.
But I was nervous, you know. I mean, I said, just being friendly like I'm always friendly. And I said, hi, you know, my name's Loretta.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, said, we'll take you back here. She wanted the shampoo set or something. I don't remember now what it was, but I know I had to shampoo her hair. So I take her back to the chair at the shampoo station, sit her down, put the cloak around her and all the things that I was supposed to do. And I said, I just hope, you know, that I can do your hair. I hope I can do your hair and satisfy you, you know,
mm-hmm.
that you like it. And she said, well, here, use this and hand me some certain shampoos and stuff to shampoo her hair with.
Right.
So I went to do it, and it was an experience that I had never felt. But I thought I went through it, doing like I always supposed to do. And she said, oh, I'm sure you'll do fine. Just treat me like you would any white woman. And I went, oh, I didn't mean to offend you, you know, to myself.
Right.
But I didn't say anything.
Sure.
And she said, do you know who I am? And I said, no, ma'am. And then she told me who she was.
Okay.
Didn't ring a bell with me because I don't watch football.
Right.
I don't know nothing about football.
Especially some Cincinnati team, some Yankee, Ohio team, right?
Cincinnati Bengals. And they come up there to Portsmouth and they'd cross the street at the river.
Mm.
They made famous, made the place famous.
Right.
So, and it's still there. But anyway.
So she says, just treat me like you'd treat any white woman. And you're like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I thought, oh, I was offended her. And I didn't know what to say to her.
Tell me this has a great ending, Loretta. Tell me there was something amazing that you guys are lifelong friends now or something.
Oh, no. No, I didn't get any whiplash back from it or nothing. And then since then, other black people came in and we laughed and cut up and carried on and, different things. But being isolated like that down here growing up, and it's kind of still like that. In this county, there's only like 2% Asian.
Right.
And that little lady worked down at the grocery store. But I don't know.
Do you consider it to be weird still when you see a black person, or is it normal?
Well, to me it's normal because I've lived other places.
Right.
So I don't pay attention. My sister-in-law is from Panama, and she's dark.
Mm-hmm.
But if a black person whistled at her, she'd cuss them out.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting, because like Do you speak another language by chance?
No, I took Spanish in college.
Okay. All right. So when you would take Spanish, remember this far back, and obviously not too far back because I'm not insinuating you're old.
I'm old.
No, whatever. So I'm looking at it. We're looking at a picture of you right now. I got your when you're up against that Mustang, you know. So wearing the "Don't Unfriend Me" jacket or shirt.
No, I was just showing off my Eagle jeans there.
Yeah.
And my
That a girl. Oh, Loretta, you can keep me on. I don't. It's hilarious. You always do this. You call me right when I'm ready to get off, and I'm just like, I don't want to leave. So we'll keep going for a second. So.
Well, I just wanted to tell you how happy I was about the peace deal. And how proud I am of our president.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
And happy birthday to Charlie.
Happy birthday to Charlie. Absolutely. That's why we're wearing red today. It's the only red shirt I have. So besides my red REDs, my Friday shirts. But the reason I asked you about a language real quick, and then I'll wrap it up, is if you remember when you did that, did you ever think in Spanish, or did you always think in English and then translate to Spanish?
When I look at the word, I think in Spanish.
Okay. So a lot of people who speak languages know what I mean, because some people, when they become more familiar with their language and become really prolific at it, they start thinking in Spanish when they're talking it, not thinking in English and translating it to Spanish. And most people who are new to a language think of it in English and then translate into Spanish versus the other way. I think it also happens
My Spanish teacher was a Chinese guy from San Francisco.
Right. So if you would have spoken to him in Chinese, he would be fluent in Chinese, think in Chinese, but with Spanish and English, he probably had to think in Chinese and then translate. So the reason I think it's also true with people who are different skin colors or different religions, and you see them for the first time, and you feel trepidatious or you feel nervous because you don't understand them. And Teddy Roosevelt said it best. I think it was Teddy, or it could have been Franklin. But you hate what or who you hate and fear. You fear what you don't understand, or you hate who you fear, and whatever it is. And he said no. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. But somebody else said, you kind of don't. I don't know who the quote. I really don't. I'm too tired. But the point is,
like no matter where I go, people will talk to me. For some reason, I'm like, they tell me their stories, their deep stories, and their dark secrets, and I'm like, what am I? I mean, no matter where I go, and usually I go by myself, and people always, I don't know, come to me. I don't know what it is.
Well,
and I'm often wondered about that, but I'm not scared or leery of people. I have a deep down sense of what to be afraid of. It's like a gut feeling. The vibes people put off,
Well, I think that just comes with experience. Is like, listen, I'm not going to go and walk down in Kabul at 2 a.m. in Afghanistan, because I'm not going to survive. And I'm also not going to go down and do that in Crenshaw. But I could walk down in Crenshaw at 2 p.m. with my wits about me and ensuring that I respected the environment I was in, and I could do that in Kabul as well. I think circumstance predates insecurity, and preparedness postdates insecurity. And what I mean by that is that if you ensure that you prepare yourself in any scenario, you have a better chance of having a successful experience than being nervous and scared and doing nothing and throwing yourself into a situation that you're not prepared for. And I think the same is true when I walked into church for the first time 8 weeks ago. I had to prepare myself mentally, physically, to go into that space And without that preparedness and planning, there's a good chance that it would have turned out differently than I wanted it to. And I think if you do that with other races and other religions, then you can get to a place where you know what your insecure spots are. So you'll be more receptive and open to those people, because here's the truth. You may not love Muslim or Jews or Christians or gay people or whatever, but trust me when I say this, they have the same prejudices about you. And if you can just realize that that's your common ground, is that's where you guys come from, is that they're probably just as nervous to see and talk to you as you are them. This is what I learned in Japan, is that I thought the Japanese were snobbish elite assholes. And honestly, it's just that they were terrified of me, because I'm a big gaijin at 6'4", and I'm a big dude. And they were terrified of me. I look like a giant in their land. And I had to humble myself and ensure that when I sat next to people, I would sit lower, that my bows would be much lower than usual, and I wouldn't sit and act a certain way. And I would have some of the greatest conversations with older ladies on the bus going to where we were staying, and the guys wouldn't talk to me, and the younger people, but the older ladies would talk to me, because they had been here long enough that they ran across other sailors, and their trepidation, their fear, their lack of preparedness had surpassed them, where they were able to have really good conversations with people because their prejudices were gone. I think if we can figure out how to do that as a people, that's where we start, is we find out where we agree versus where we disagree. And Loretta, that's a very deep response to your comment, but that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, well, now in my family, I'm from a big family. But anyway, I have family that has married black. I have family that has married Filipinos or living with. Also Spanish.
Oh wow! So you got an eclectic family.
Yeah, and I myself at one time was dating a drug den. Little did I know it at the time, but that was back when I lived in Camelback in Arizona.
I lived in Camelback in Arizona.
I know you did.
I lived off Carefree Highway. I was at Anthem. I used to go on Camelback. I had a store on Camelback. And my Game Crazy and Hollywood Video were right there. Did you go to the Game Crazy and Hollywood Video on Camelback?
No.
You never rented a movie at Hollywood Video? You went to Blockbuster, didn't you? Damn it, Loretta, you're the reason we closed.
No. I was lucky that I didn't even have a TV.
All right. I got to let you go, sister. I got to go say hi to my wife and give her a hug and a kiss. I love talking to you, Loretta. You can do that anytime. I always enjoy speaking with you. You get last word.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that I enjoyed tonight's show, and I just about everything that has been going on, it was intense. I stood up all night and watched when Trump, during the whole televised thing of before the hostages came out, the whole thing.
Yep.
And I don't know. And our mayor resigned today, so we're in the middle of that. Things just got all turned around. It's just been crazy here. But anyway.
Yeah.
God. See, now I'm just got all distracted about everything.
No, it's a beautiful day, right? It's a beautiful day. I think Charlie would be absolutely ecstatic that this was done on his birthday, don't you?
I think so.
I do too.
So.
All right.
So.
I love you. I appreciate you, and I thank you for calling as always. I'm gonna go eat
love
some yogurt.
Dummy. Love you all.
Thanks, Loretta.
Have a good night.
We love you, kid. Bye. Loretta is awesome. Listen, I have had all walks of life and all different people on this show, and I can get along with anybody. But I don't know how to not to be honest. So, like Big, I didn't take offense. I just want people to know is that, yeah, I'm America first, but I'm not screw every other country. I happen to know what Israel brings because I worked in intelligence, and I know what Mossad brings to the table. Wish I would have gotten here earlier. Really liked what I saw. Thank you for the interaction. Dan was the one who directed me here. May God bless those who love him. Listen, I really appreciate you sticking around, because this is the problem with text. It sucks. It just sucks. And sometimes people say something, and you were like, well, I was giving you a compliment, but I didn't know it was a compliment. And I get a lot of trolls here, and I get defensive. But it's never designed to hurt anybody. And then sometimes people say, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that. So I appreciate you sticking around with us. Loretta is one of my favorite people on the planet. I've got a lot of those people who just call into the show randomly, and we always love it when they do. Sometimes people have bad timing. And it's like we're in the middle of a video or a heated conversation. That's Mel, my good friend Mel Lowe. Goodbye, bye, honey. I love you. I'm going to be out in a second. My dog, he saw her tail walk by. My good friend Mel Lowe, who I love, my gay North Dakotan, my snow Mexican. I'll be playing a video, and she's like, or I'll be on a rant, and she's like, bring, and I'm like, okay, Mel wants to call. We're going to talk to her. Anyway, I want to thank Matt Demo for his conversation. I understand living in a country, living in a city, living in a town that has people who are diametrically opposed to everything you are. I get it. I get it. I understand it. I really do, man. I really fucking get it. Ship life will tell you that. I mean, I had to sleep and live next to people who I did not like. And I was on ships that were, it doesn't matter, but not even then, but just in college and then in working in corporations, I had to be near people I didn't like. I had to work in cities I didn't like. I had to work in towns I didn't like. And I understand. I get it. And it's hard. But you can find value in every person you meet, even the ones that tell you how not to be. You know what I mean? You can, that's what, like, people are like, oh, I have a bad boss. And I'm like, that's a good thing, because now you know how not to be a bad boss. It's hard. But I find value in everybody in one way or another. And sometimes I see value when there isn't any. And that's a whole nother story. And that's a lesson we all have to learn, is how not to project what we want versus who people really are. But there are a lot of Muslim people who I would put my life on the line for. And there's a lot who I wouldn't. But that's with everybody. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Be a good day. It is a rare perspective, but there's people I hate. I'm not going to lie to you. There's people I don't like, and there's groups of people I don't like, but it's because of their individual worth or lack of, and not because they're a personal religion. But I'll tell you, Israel, a lot of people talk shit about Israel. It's one of the most eclectic places you can find in the Middle East. It has got everybody, and it's a loving place, but those people are warriors. Because people have been trying to kill them for 3,000 years, and maybe they're just a little bit trepidatious of foreigners. We should be too, and we're not. That's the American First side. Good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Everyone have a great night. Good night.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leeroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.